Guys, you are making noise. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm sorry, good afternoon. It's looking dark in my apartment. I guess because of our very depressive weather in the UK. So it looks a bit dark. I had to put on my ring lights. I'm also waiting for Timmy to join this live. There was some discovery she discovered and she told me to read about, which I did. And then I also made some other discovery myself that made me realize that I think even these men know, but intentionally, it looks like a battle we may never win. But then at least the few people that can embrace their identity as a woman and their strength, especially, hey, she's here, thank God. and embrace their power as a woman. I think that even if it's just a few of us, it will make the journey quite easier for us, and we are able to start fighting for wherever we are, at least for ourselves and our children and those who are immediately close to us. Because I must be honest with you, I'm not even confident that it's a battle we can easily overcome. I had to stop that music. It's distracting me. I was only playing it to try and test my YouTube, but my YouTube is acting up. Give me 1 minute. Let me warn these children to shut up. Okay, yeah. Close the door and go. Bye-bye. Good afternoon. It's past 12 in my own time. I know it's about 1 p.m. in Nigeria and different times in other side of the world, but good afternoon from here. Some people will say you should say good day. So I want to talk about the power of women. And I think personally I'm more drawn to helping women to identify their identity and the power that they wield. And somehow, like yesterday, I was sharing in one of my communities and I was telling them that the power that the woman has, actually it is the type that I think is the reason why there's a serious war against women in all aspects. Thank you for the gift. It looks like, even spiritually, it's like the devil is coming for you as a woman, physically, societally, systemic, in every stage. There's something fighting against the woman. And I'm like, okay, even if we cannot totally eradicate the abuse towards women, let's build women that can withstand that abuse. Let's build women that are resilient, women that know who they are, who are not easily moved by the tales by moonlight someone goes on ChatGPT to build up for them. Women who are not moved by money, because money has wings, it can fly at any point. So if you are basing your decision to marry or love someone on money, that's like a disservice to yourself. And so I think it was on Monday when Timmy shared with me to go and research about the word Izzas. To be honest, the little I did, I think I was short of words for the longest time. I have known the word Izzas, but I don't know, for some reason, it's never occurred to me. In fact, there's a group I belong to that the name of the group is Isas. But for some reason, it never occurred to me that this is actually peculiar to women. And then 2 mornings ago, I don't know, something just made me read Proverbs 31. And for this first time, I realized that Proverbs 31 has nothing to do with marriage. Does it mean it cannot be used in marital context? It can. But I realized that the real meaning of that Proverbs 31 has absolutely nothing to do with marriage, like the church has limited it. I shared in my community yesterday, I said something. I said, you see, because of the way Christianity came into Africa, right? It's plus the mindset and beliefs about the church setting, being that women do not have a voice, women should keep quiet in the church. In fact, as of last week, this week that is ending, I saw a post by a revered man of God. I didn't see it directly on his page because I don't follow his page, but someone reposted to really attack the fact that he's misogynistic. And it was on that wall I saw where it was as if, in fact, it's as if he was targeting a particular set of women. And it was more like saying things like, any woman that goes on a mission field, leaving her family for months, is an irresponsible woman. I'm paraphrasing it now. He called the women different names. And in my mind, I'm like, but men go on missionary journeys without looking back. In fact, even your Christian movies reflect it. And somehow, at the end of the movie, you portray it that it is still the woman's duty to forgive and be patient with the husband. After all, he has apologized. And so there's this misogyny coming even from the pulpit, that it looks like to even rise as a woman, even in the place that you think it is equal, should be equal for everybody, it becomes a difficult thing, because a man is feeling threatened by the rise of another woman in that space. Go to politics, there's so much that is like is stifling the ease for women there. If you go to the secular work or go to work like organizations, how many organizations has made it? In fact, in so many organizations, they tell you if you are married, don't reveal to them that you're married. In fact, someone still shared with me recently, she relocated from Nigeria, I think, to either South Africa or one of those countries. And she said when she was getting there, when she got there newly and she was applying, that the person interviewing her told her that I will advise that you hide the fact that you are just married. Just write married. Don't include that it is just a new marriage. And the person went further to explain that the reason is because they believe that as a married woman, you want to get pregnant in the next few minutes. And so they will feel that you'll be a wasted investment for them. So due to that, they will not allow you, they will not even take you into the job. That is, being a woman alone is already standing against you, just because you are a woman and you choose to have children. Because it's not everyone that will choose to not have children. There are some that wants to have children, they desire it for whatever their reasons. I mean, everybody has the right to, but there's this segregation. Even in the Western world, in the US, I know few people in the US that, what am I to say? Let me talk about even the UK that I live in. A lot of family, the only way they are able to manage and thrive is by somebody stopping their job. And most times, you don't need to ask. It's the woman that is made to stop. I'm going somewhere with all of this. Then 2 days ago or yesterday, on the same page that I saw the post of that, where somebody was, fighting against the mindset of that man. The woman made a post on submission. Yesterday on my Facebook, it was brutal. So many people came for me. For the first time on Facebook, they called me a bitter woman. It hits them that yesterday, and I don't care. So yesterday, I had to give it back to them. And this woman made a post about submission, and not submission. I like, although submission was kind of partly part of the thing, but she was talking about how women have been sidelined in Nigerian system. Then she shared her own personal experience. She said that there was a time she was, I think, in the US for a business stuff, and her husband was to buy a property for their family. And by the time it was time for the documentation, the husband asked that they put her name first before his own name. I mean, her first name, then his own name. And the lawyer was like, excuse me, sir, are you sure you're doing the right thing? Remove it, oh, she can come tomorrow against you, blah, 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 blah. Okay, in that first property, she said her own part of this was 40% or so. No, I don't think it's up to that. It was a little. Then the second property, the first one when it happened, she was not present and she was angry, but she let it slide. Then the second time they were buying a property, this time around, it was even fully her money. But she gave it to her husband to get it on her behalf. And of course, with their name together. This same lawyer started that he took the husband shouting and talking down on the lawyer to shut up and just do what he has asked him to do. And what is the reason for the lawyer saying that the man should not add his wife's name? Simply because it is a man's word. It is a woman. Women can suddenly betray you. That's not even the major thing. I now waited to read the comments. And on the comments, that's what even shattered my heart mostly. Is the fact that all the men, or no, let me say all, but 90% of the men, or if not 95% of the men under that post, they were saying, one literally even said something like, if she dropped about 40% of the amount they are using to get a property, that maybe he can put her name, but anything less than 40%, he's going to put his name only. And then someone was like, okay, but what if her reason for not being able to drop that financial money was because she was pregnant and was nursing your child, and that due to that she's out of career? The next thing this man will say is, I did not send her to drop her career. And this is not the first time I'm seeing that kind of thing. It's not really a shock to me, but then for the person to have the audacity to put it in a public space, it's one thing if it's happening behind the scene, in the comment section and stuff like that. I may not be so, but in a place where everybody is seeing it, people were screenshotting. I also I had to screenshot it. Like, I need to mark this face. And this man was unrepentant. And again, come to think of it, in which country, I don't know if there is now, but I'm not sure there's any country at the moment that pays a woman for stepping out of her career to nurture her children. And these are the things that I have thought about, that I think it's time that while we will keep addressing all this patriarchy and misogyny, it's time for us to start empowering ourselves, and we start from understanding who we are and the power we wield as women. And it's interesting that I even saw another post from a so-called doctor. Now, I don't know if he's a medical doctor or a academic doctor, but he said something. He said, any woman that says that she's not going to have children is going to, it's a very, very hard word, maybe block or hate or something. Is angry that a woman can choose to not have a child with her body. Something that is life-threatening on most occasions, is angry. And this is someone who is supposed to be a learned person. And this is why I tell people that going to Ivy League school does not erase patriarchy, does not erase misogyny from the heart of these people. Let them go to the best of all best school. I know of an encounter of a guy who finished in Harvard, and when the person he was dating, and he was having a conversation with her, he told her, now the person he's having a conversation with also finished from an Ivy school. He categorically told the lady that, see, in my family, women are only allowed to be a teacher. This is someone who is a lawyer. In a nutshell, he's telling her to drop her career after the rigorous studying. You know that law takes extra time of your life for you to get to that stage. And both of you, let me just keep it quiet. The way both of you are harassing me in my inbox with your videos, I'll come back to that. Okay, as I was saying, he reduced her to being a teacher simply because his mother was a teacher. And then she asked him for that, okay, why do you want me to be a teacher? He said, because so that you can have time for our children. You can have time to build the home. Well, that was the end of the relationship. But the truth is, how many women have the confidence to end a relationship? And sometimes this happens when you think you are running late. For example, you are in your late 30s, you are in your early 40s. The pressure, sometimes it's actually internal pressure. there's the external pressure, which I'm not ignoring, the parents, the societal expectation, but there's also the internal pressure. Give me a minute. Daniel, come and close this door for me. There's also the internal pressure that you give yourself, even though it's not intentional, but somehow unintentionally you begin to pressure yourself into thinking, it's getting late. Then the biological clock, and you forget that even men have biological clock, even though they don't project this, but men do have biological clock. So all of these things are the things that I thought of. I said, yes, we'll still keep talking about all these ills. I, for one, am not planning to stop. I don't care whatever label they want to give me, but I will still continue talking about it. However, I'm also thinking of the angle where we are building ourselves, where we become so resilient that there's nothing they say or do that will push us away from our dream and goal. Imagine a man knowing a woman is a career woman. During their courtship, he agrees that, yes, don't worry, I'll support you. Then upon getting married, his language changes. Close the door. His language changes to another language of, no, you have to stay at home and take care of the children. Meanwhile, at the same time, this same person is not going to put... And you see, there's a line that they also throw whenever they want to do their property. When they have put their own name alone, they come back and say, two of us now, we are one. That's when they will remember you are one. That's when they will say, anything you have is mine. Anything I have is yours. But legally, there's nothing like that. And this is why, as a woman, you cannot afford to throw away your identity under the umbrella of marriage. I don't... That thing, it turns my stomach. I mean, you get married because you get married. It starts from the name. And I feel your name is actually part of your identity. Now, I'm not giving static rule that you must not change your name. But I'm saying that even if you want to change your name, let it not be that it is out of pressure of what people are saying and expectations of people. And many times at the end of the day, I notice a pattern. These women begin to live in the shadow of their husband. So here I am, I'm saying we will deal with this issue, but let's face ourselves and help ourselves. Let's even begin to see ourselves for who we really are. And when I did that research, Timmy, please, if you can come on. When I did the research that, don't even go there. Me, I'm not. I once changed my name. Upon trying to change back, I know the drama I went through. With UK, it was very easy, but with Nigeria, I know the shege bansa that I went through to change my name. I had to wait for different certificates. Meanwhile, in the UK, I don't need any proof. I mean, I can wake up one day to say I want to change my name, right? But that's not the same thing with this thing, with Nigeria. So that stress alone. For me, I would not even subscribe to the name change. Anyways, so I mean, it's very easy to lose your identity. And like I tell people, I say this even in my very close, because there are some things that I must be honest with you that I don't come publicly to say. Not because I don't want to say it, not because I'm afraid, but because I will be taken out of context and misconstrued. And me, I don't want a situation where I'm hearing what I didn't say and it's been brought to my name. So I'm just like, let me be careful at the same time. Plus, these things are quite sensitive that if you are not careful, it will now look like you are misleading and confusing people. So I am not able to say some things. But one thing I would say is, I still mentioned to someone this morning, as a woman, have it at the back of your mind. If you want to ever have children, make sure the children you're having is not the kind of children you cannot personally single-handedly raise. See, even if you marry the best of the best of man today, hey, welcome.
I had to show my face so that they will know the seriousness of it. And I want glasses so that I can look serious.
No, Allah, don't worry. We are here to say the bad things together, and because like I said earlier on Facebook yesterday, I was called a bitter woman for the first time. Because I made a series of posts, to be honest, but one particular one triggered them, and that was paraphrasing. I said something like, a genuine man will not be looking for a submissive wife. He'll be looking for a woman to love and cherish. But the comment on that post. So even in my inbox,
they are used to you being subtle. So no, it kind of shocks them a little bit.
They were like, I'm controversial. I'm a bitter woman. I was like, sorry. So me coming, I
somebody
was
like
just giving it back to back to back to back.
somebody like I and Ola were already used to being called bitter, angry, unattractive. They say we are out of the sexual market and we are trying to drown other women in our misery.
In your no problem. I that one they started it on TikTok, but the Facebook one was heavy yesterday. But I somehow was ready for them. Different people that I don't know, they came from nowhere. I deleted comment, I blocked, I did all sort of this. But again, people will always label what they don't understand. They would call it whatever name they want to call it, and I'm not ready to even be helping them. Yesterday, I remember most of them I was replying them with gifs, and the gifs were really showing the ridiculousness in their comments, and they were like, some were triggered with the fact that they am not triggered, so it kind of angry them that the reaction they were expecting from me they didn't get it. But then how is that my business? So anyways, like I said, I just want us to talk about the power that women have and how we can use it to our own advantage, and how we can also channel it to further kind of shut the noise, and also let these people, not necessarily like you're going to fight it, but there's a way you would wield your power that there's no argument. There's no one trying to tell you that you're not doing enough. There's no one trying to pull you down, that they will keep quiet where you are speaking. Good afternoon, welcome. And so these are the things I'm thinking, like the discussion that you brought on Monday. Jesus. When I read that thing, I think you saw some of my reaction. I came back to you. I was like, wow. So I've been sleeping on a bicycle. And then when I now read Proverbs 31, I was like, I came to a conclusion that truly people cannot teach what they don't have. And especially if it is something that will favor them. Humans like to be very hypocritical. Like a guy did on my post yesterday, under that same submission post. He dropped a comment and said, okay, if women don't want to submit again, they should be doing 50-50. I then replied him, I said, oh, no problem. As far as the 50-50 will include childbearing, child nurturing, house chores, and all the likes, only for the guy to twist it and say and start saying all sort of things. But I had to delete the comment. So now, how do we even go about women understanding the power they have? Because the society, the church, the environment has made it look like women are powerless. They say things like women ride on their emotions, that they wear their emotions on their sleeves. They say things like women are not logical. But then we see the logical ones, who are the ones that are really throwing tantrums without emotional regulation. How do we throw this veil or this garments that they have clothed on women? How do we remove it? How do we allow women to begin to see that they are not what they are projecting? All that women don't support women is also part of the lies to make us not to like ourselves, to make us to hate each other. Because again, the minute, have you noticed that anything, thank you for the gift, Ola, anything women join hands to do together. Look at, in fact, NSAS is a very good example. Look at the people in the forefront. When a woman starts something, it makes sense, and it always yield good result until a man tries to take over and everything becomes messy. And time and time again, even in innovations that women make, somebody, I don't know, I think it was one of my videos recently. Somebody just dropped a comment saying something about someone, I've forgotten who created something, but it was actually the wife that is the brain behind it. But the wife was shut out, and he intentionally increased the house chores to a point where she could not add her input into the creation. I think it's for Apple. I can't remember exactly. It's just a comment I read just before coming live. And this is just one example out of many. And if you now bring it to the context of church, they come with things like a woman has to submit to a woman, even when it is something she's the one doing. And then they begin to make it look like if the woman is saying, no, it has to be my name. Thank you, Eston's wife. If the woman is, let's say, trying to fight that for herself, that it has to be my name, blah, 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 they are saying that she's insubordinate. That's when she become a loud person. That's when they give her names that is not her name and all sort of things. And tendency to want to cower down and be liked and look like a humble wife and meek and quiet spirits. For some reason, that meek and quiet spirit seem to be the for only women, according to Christians. It does not include men. So now, how do we balance this? How do we help women to understand that speaking out for your rights, regardless of whose ox is gorged, is not you being rude. It's just what should be. And that mindset of making women to think that they should keep silent because a man is speaking. And then even in organizations, when they are having meetings, women want to speak and share their opinion. In fact, there's one example that's coming to my head. Have you observed that when a man and a woman are going to, say for example, they want to apply for a contract, many times the man, maybe he knows 20 to 30%, but the man goes with serious confidence. When the woman that is going, who has 90 to 100%, of the things she has, she gets there and she's doubting herself, thinking she doesn't have the capacity or feels that she's not enough. And due to that aura, she begins to even lose before she starts. But the man that does not even know up to her is then given the contract simply because the man could, I don't know, it's like there's an audacity. No, that's, see, I don't know. Yes, I understand this place. Me too, I've read it before. And this was last year. In fact, a time came, I actually stopped reading, not necessarily stopped, but I stopped paying attention to Corinthians, the book of Corinthians, because that's where it looks like there was a serious attack on women. But I later understood when I read history and also did some courses on Romans and Apostle Paul and the likes, then I realized that what happened was that in the society then, a woman is meant to be seen and not heard. A single woman is meant to be exposing herself so that she can attract a suitor. And then a woman who is seen talking outside anywhere is tagged a prostitute. So because of that, Apostle Paul made those instructions. That's why I understand that sometimes people pick the one portion of the Bible, but I also think that it is necessary to go through the context of a thing, understand the culture of the time. When you understand the culture of the time, you understand that some things actually do not relate with you now. Some things that is in that Bible does not relate with you now. Say, for example, time where they were stoning people to death. Can you go and do it now? You will go to jail because that's murder. The same thing. But unfortunately, people who are power drunken and control freak, they will want to still stand on it and use it to silence women in church. That is one of the reasons why that man of God was attacking women who are speakers, who are, I'm not even noticing, they are the ones that called, it came online attacking women who are speakers, who are pastors. I don't know, it's like he's just angry that women are, to be honest, the conclusion I came to was that maybe his wife is now speaking up, or the daughter-in-laws are fighting, and the wife follows me. She follows me back to back to back. So maybe that's the only conclusion I could come to, that maybe he's already pinching him. But then that's not my business. So I think that aspect, if you look at the context, it does not apply. But then again, it is only when it is relating to subjugating women they always enable and project it more. So yeah, I think I've been talking so much. Let me allow Timmy to talk a little bit and then we'll go on with the discussion. Over to you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good everything.
Good afternoon. Okay, so where do I even start from?
Anywhere.
I feel like because this conversation, I feel like to an extent it's a little bit targeted towards Christian women, right? So we've been having series of conversations with Ola concerning these issues, and as much as we try to look at religion as an independent thing, as if it is independent of the society, actually it is not, right? Religion is a product of the society. So when they try to tell you, oh, we are in the world, but we are not of the world, all those kind of things, they kind of make you feel like So I feel like within religion, there's a certain level of there's a disconnect somewhere, right? That we feel disconnected to the society. So you have to live in denial of your reality. You have to live in denial of your reality because you're made to believe that you're not of the society, right? So let me quickly talk about this Asa conversation first
Yeah.
before I think people are more familiar with Ebenezer. So when they hear Ebenezer, they kind of understand it. So Asa is actually the Hebrew word for helper. So that was the word, and then there's another word I think aside from Asa. I think there's another word. Is it Ebna also, which is supposed to mean a help, as in when you're talking about somebody who is like a maid, right? So that one is like Ebna. I'm looking for where I had that written down. I couldn't find the jota, right? So Ebna is supposed to be a maid. That's the Hebrew word for a maid. And then we have Asa, which is the Hebrew name for a help that is superior to you, right? So that is what Aba means. That's what Asa means. And when the Bible was saying, I would make you an Asa that is suitable for you. It did not say Ebna. I will make you an Asa. Now, I just want us to run through a little bit of scriptures where you can hear those.
I should have gotten my pen now.
So you would see that in Genesis 2, right? I did know Tofumi. I have a heart for Christian women, honestly.
I do
You're
too.
probably never going to see me this serious again, Tofumi.
Because they are the most abused and most, I don't know, they are also very, very vulnerable, and I'm trying to be loud.
Yeah. So Genesis 2:18 says, the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper. And the helper there was Asa. I will make an Asa, right? Suitable for him. Now, in Genesis 2:20, I think that word appeared in the Bible about 30 something times, right? And every time it was referring to something bigger than man, right? And it also called God. Even God himself was referred to as Asa to man. The Holy Spirit was referred to as Asa to man. The Israelis, when war come to war and it was becoming too much on them, they said they seeked for help from another community, right? And those people were also referred to as Asa to the to Israel, to the children of Israel. So at every point that God has, there's something about man that I just feel like man, like, and when I say man, I literally mean man. And also, not to confuse anybody, but whenever you hear man in the Bible, women like to believe that when they say man, it means the human race. The Bible was talking about man, as in man. It's not talking about humanity or human beings and calling both women. So that is why when they are talking about women, they don't say women and expect it to be man, right? As well. So okay, so we have in John 14:26, right? Where the Bible was also talking about the Holy Spirit as helper as well. I kind of wrote a lot of scriptures anyway. Is everything okay?
Yes, it is. Oh, okay, don't worry.
Okay. So, and then in Psalms as well, when God was referred to as Asa, we also have we have Deuteronomy as well. I think maybe I'll send some of the scriptures to you
Please,
later,
I
right?
appreciate it.
Yeah, because there are quite a lot. So man has always been insufficient and always needing help because man is destructive. A man is destructive. Everything that comes to his hands, he ruins it.
We are
So
seeing this now.
that is why at every point it's like, and I feel like men are bottomless pits.
Chai.
No matter how much you pour into them, it is never sufficient. A woman came into their lives, they ruined it. The Holy Spirit came, Jesus came, it was still not enough. The Holy Spirit, it's like it is never enough, right? Now, there are so many things that I'm even scared of saying on your life, right?
So they don't come for you.
It's not even them. I'm not scared of them, honestly.
But people, so that people will not be confused as well.
Yeah. But I personally have come to a position where, honestly, I'm more worried about you. But I have come to a position where
Go ahead and say, don't worry.
Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
have come to a position where I believe that the Bible is a book that was written for men, right? Because just like you cannot say, if the Bible itself believes that a woman is Asa and the Holy Spirit is Asa and God is Asa and Jesus is Asa, then the Bible was not written for Jesus. It was not written for God. It was not written for the Holy Spirit. Why would it be written for the other Asa? Right? So I don't believe that the Bible was written for women. So it is a guidebook for men. And it is a document that was written by men. And talking about the Bible inspiring, talking about those words being inspiration from God, right? The way, what I did that kind of helped me to deconstruct that particular idea, right, is that, okay, I've been hearing a lot of messages lately of Joshua Selman, right? And I don't know if you know, but Joshua Selman comes from the same place as,
Oh, okay.
he comes from
Interesting.
this, yes, we are from the same local government.
Oh, wow.
So, knowing my people, right? And when he's preaching, sometimes I can hear our customs and our traditions. I can hear the things that they teach us when we were. All I'm telling you, that's why I'm even scared. Actually.
Come on now, why are you doing like this? Just talk. I am aware of anything that you are thinking is going to happen. I know what I'm doing before I started.
Yeah, so I can feel my people, right? But somehow, because this person has a microphone and he has an audience, right? Don't worry yourself. I don't go talk anything. You go carry me enter kiri kiri. Because so because I can hear my people, it is easy for me, assuming there's another book that will be written in the future, and it will be a documentation of the words of these men that would eventually become a doctrine for a certain religion. The way we argue and swear that the Holy Spirit was inspired by God, those people will argue that those words were inspired by whatever divinity that they believe at the time. You get?
Yeah.
Because this is a book that was just compiled and was given to you, and it became a doctrine over the years. Don't forget that people who lived alongside Paul, people like Paul, people who lived with him, not all of them agreed with what he was saying. Some of them knew him personally, so they would disagree because they know his character, they know.
And it's not recorded too.
Exactly. And those people did not have an audience.
Yeah.
They did not have a platform. So they cannot defend themselves. Even if their arguments were genuine,
Yes.
the
And
voice of
superior.
Paul, because Paul had an audience, his voice outpowered their own voices.
Plus, he was learned.
Exactly. So it's just like before now, we'll have pastors preach and they come and say things that sometimes you go to church, you feel so angry because you're very sure this thing that this pastor said is not correct. And within your spirit, you're fighting these thoughts, right? But you don't have a platform.
Yeah.
But this person has a platform. And before now, nobody could challenge a pastor if the pastor says anything. It is not until they started bringing their messages to social media.
Media,
Because
yes.
anybody that could listen to them then was somebody who was their subject. The person was sitting under them, and
Yes.
they,
And they're biased
they,
already towards them and loyal
and aside from being biased, they believe they are superior to the
them.
person.
Yes.
Yes. So even if the person comes out, I used to attend a church, and sometimes a pastor will say something that I don't agree with. So when we joined the church initially, during service, he could ask questions because a lot of people who were in the church at the time, it was even a very small church. A lot of people who were in the church at the time were not so educated, right? So during service, he was okay with saying, "Oh, ask questions." So people were asking him questions he could answer, and he could brag about his Bible knowledge. So we joined the church, and then he would preach, and then he would give that opening, "Oh, you can ask questions." And then I'm like, I personally don't agree with this thing that you said. This is my thought and all. And it became a problem. We were having clash here and there. Like myself and my husband, we were clashing. Then there was another family who came from Oman. They relocated from Oman to Nigeria. They joined the church, and they were sound people as well. So they were not agreeing as well. So it now looked like the church had a division. So he stopped asking questions during church service. Even when they go for Bible studies, there was no time for questions. He would just preach. And then it got to a point where it was as if we were fighting him. So he would say things like, he's the pioneer of the ministry, and if God says something to you, God cannot bypass him
You
to
don't
talk
enter
to
that
you.
level.
Exactly. So I felt the need to leave the church. So when I was leaving, some people will come and be like, what happened now? Why are you leaving the church? Why did you leave? And all? And I'll tell them I don't agree with him. I don't think his words tally with what I believe God to be and all. And then they want to know more, and I'll talk to them. And then some people were leaving with me as well.
You are carrying their church member.
I'm telling you, this man till this day is too scary for me. Because we struggled to gather those members, right?
You made him lose his members. There's a bit of courses on you.
I said till today, he still preaches with me and says how terrible people come and they pack members and all. But I'm not starting a church.
To create church.
I'm not even starting a church, so you cannot necessarily say I took your members, right?
Oh my God!
So,
yes, what's their business?
So they started bringing their messages to social media, and social media is a place where the people who they term not so godly have occupied and become just like they are principalities in those other gardens and I don't mean principalities as in
I understand.
Yeah, so this space is where people who are educated with Western education and other forms of education are principalities, right? So they are just coming up later. So, and when they come on social media, they are used to being this egocentric,
being worshipped.
Exactly.
Reverent.
Yeah. So when they say things and they allow these things to come online, they post it themselves on social media, hoping to get following. They realize that people are taking their videos and scrutinizing them. And then you hear them say things like, people want to shut the voice of God. They want to shut the voice of God, right? So what they are telling you is that their voices are the voice of God.
I even saw a video recently of how this what's his name? Femi Lazarus, he made a video, he said something about, I think he was relating to the lady. I didn't watch that thing. I only saw the snippet, and due to the way he's emotionally absent, I don't watch his stories or whatever again. It annoys me, so I don't bother. But I saw one of his snippets. I saw it for a few seconds. Then there was a video, I think he made it in response. And it was saying something like, it was very calling Nigerians that Nigeria has a spirit, that what they do is that they will push you to do something and then they back off. Then they will now, I don't know, I can't remember, I want to try and word it very well, but he painted it in such a way that they are the ones that you are the one that will tell him to do something, and then he will now do it, and then you will now still come and scrutinize him and then use it against him. I remember watching the video. I'm like, are you really that saint that you say you are? Because you remember one live that you and Ola had that I joined briefly, that I mentioned something about my reservation about him. The little about his story that I know, he went through trauma, blah blah blah. And I remembered I've asked this question from my folks before, and I asked that day as well that, did this man ever go for therapy? And
If he, Ruth, if a pastor goes for therapy, right, that goes against his beliefs.
I'm a
That goes
pastor.
against that goes
I'm a
against
pastor in
his
my house.
that goes
Not for
against
lots
his
of
belief,
therapy.
because they don't even believe that trauma is a real thing. They don't believe that depression is a real thing that needs medical attention, right? They don't think mental health issues are medical issues. They believe it is just because you have let darkness
No
to
wonder they don't
consume
like
you.
to talk to me.
Yeah,
Because
so they
I asked
believe.
that question. I said, has he gone for therapy? Then secondly, I was like, did he study anything in line with mental health, psychology? I intentionally now went to read about him, and I realized that he didn't study anything with it. So I'm like, how did you know about all of these
A
things?
few months ago, this guy was just preaching about, oh, like he was just saying random motivational things. And so I feel like he was just, when you start creating content and then you're just multitasking, you're doing vlogs, you're doing a day in my life, you're doing get ready with me, you're talking about marriage once, you're talking like you're doing cooking
Everywhere.
videos, just what Vicky James is doing, and then you're looking at which one will
What's
kick off,
best?
right? Yeah, and then you eventually got the one that kicked off, because there was a place where that guy said that was when I began to have serious fear. I have always not liked him, but I feel like that particular thing that he said was when I had severe, like I was scared for women who sit under this guy. And it may not sound like a big deal, or it is a normal thing that people can do, right?
Yeah.
But that is not normal, because if you consider the kind of power that you hold and you say something like that, when he said he handles his social media pages himself, he said he handles his social media pages, he has studied the algorithm. So that also brings me back to what I'm about to say, right? He said he studied the algorithm. He knows when to post, what to post,
Which
that will
pastor
go,
has that? Which pastor with serious following?
that will go viral. Now, I would not have mind if this guy was, aside from being a pastor, he's also a social media manager, for instance. It would not have bothered me. Do you get? But this guy is not. And then the fact that his content, his messages, people are paying transportation. They are leaving their houses because they believe what you're preaching. They are coming to church. So what you are preaching in the gathering of these people is actually content that you're using to test waters on social media.
Phew.
Do you understand? So I am using my life. I don't know if y'all know
My
that
life is
going
an
to church,
experiment.
when churches say you should come and be a member, you are in submission to that person. That is what they believe. You're submitting. In fact, that's why if we are even getting married or anything is taking you, they will say, who was the pastor that you were submitted to?
That's true.
Now, you will take yourself to a place and submit yourself. And that is the place where both women, thank you, both women, both men, anybody, they open up their spirits and their souls to receive that message. Women go there, at least for women. I know that men know how to close their spirits to information, right? But for a woman, she goes there with her spirit open to receive.
Yes.
And then this person is taking information from social media, because if a woman is on social media, right, she has her guards up. When she's consuming content, she's careful with what she's consuming. Okay, no, I don't agree with this.
Yeah.
But when it is your pastor, it is somebody who you have wired yourself to be in submission and is open to the person's spirit, right?
Yes.
So this person comes on social media and consumes content and is trying to test waters with this content. Then the person brings it to church and is pouring it out. And you are receiving this information as something that is coming from above. You understand? And these women are receiving this information, and you would wonder. Yesterday we were on live with Ola on Ola's live, and this was what we were discussing on the dangers. And we have women coming to defend him. Why do they feel the need to do that? If I had posted somebody like Odumeje and we were talking about how dangerous his message is, they would just laugh. It will not be a big deal. If I post somebody like Jeremiah or Motofen, they will laugh. It will not be a big deal. But this one has a strong hold over them that they are actually open to receive that message. And then when you hear the message lacks consistency. You know why I would never have a problem with somebody like Hubert Angel when he's preaching the message of marriage and the rest? He does not confuse you.
He's not mixing it.
He is very consistent. He has told you that your husband is your Lord.
He's your Lord. Yes, I saw one of his posts.
In as much as what he is saying is wrong, but he is consistent with it. This one lacks consistency because he tells you your problem. He has come online to study what women are complaining about. So he will tell you that women are going through a lot. He will tell you women have trauma. Have you ever heard this guy telling men to heal?
No, he's always women.
Has he ever mentioned anything that men
so
have
don't blame
trauma?
on the next man. So that
Exactly.
you're not punishing the new man for the thing that the last man did.
So this man just knows that this thing is like they understand that the systems that govern the world does not favor women, right? So they actually, he's feeding you back what you told him.
Very true.
So women are open to being like, oh, this guy just gets it. He's one of the few pastors that get it. Then follow him and say, what is the solution to our problem? Then he brings you back to the solution that every man on earth is telling you. Submit, even when you are being abused. This man literally glorified the suffering of women, where he said something like, our mothers who endured because of their children are heroes. And that women of this generation will never do that. So if you have a mother that did that, she's such a blessing, because she's not like the women of this generation. And these women of this generation are the ones who are running back to him to go and tell him, this is what I've experienced. This is how it makes me feel. Only for him to tell you, oh no, me too, I went through trauma. I have a scar at the back of my head.
Let me interrupt.
Do you understand?
No, let me interrupt today. The last interview that I watched, I watched 2 of his interviews so far, but the second one that I watched was the last one, and that was because he kept inserting himself. There was no empathy, no sorry, nothing. In fact, the guest was coughing at some point, not even sorry, let alone water. I was like, why? And then he now inserted himself and talked. He gave one big English like that. I can't remember, talking about the lady that was first afraid of marriage, that married one white guy like that. That was the last one I watched. I was so angry that I was like, no, this is rubbish. Then I saw one podcast of, I beg, let me just paraphrase, say it a little bit, of a pastor, so-called pastor, that raped a lady with his hand and with her hand. That's actually the woman. He inserted her hand into her. But what captivated my heart was that the two hosts paused, stood up, went to
That's you're talking about Madam. What's that her name? Say? Yeah, I know her. I think she's South African also.
She went to, like, she literally paused the whole podcast. I was like, I remember sharing it to my WhatsApp status and say, this is empathy. People, they will sit down there like log of wood, like they don't even have emotion. Then again, in my head, I'm like, well, it's someone that is not really wounded that will be thinking of empathy. So I feel it's more of content for him than really touching people.
Of course, it is.
I agree, Ola. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're also stopping even women from being pastors. Now that they're even fighting and getting angry that women are becoming pastors. Go on, please.
So this man will come and regurgitate what you have told him, what you fed him, and women consume those contents. And then the result, he's taking you back to your abuse and back to your oppression. As to him, that is the solution to your problem, is for you to go back and maintain silence to be abused. Right? One thing. So for me,
what is this? I didn't see that coming. Oh God. She needs to. My stomach is feeling happy. Oh my God. That was a good break.
It was. Okay. So let's take it back to where the problem of women began from.
Yes.
Right? In respect to the Bible. So the Bible told you that that a woman was brought out from the rib of a man. Right? The same person who was helpless, but for some reason, what he needed for help was within him. Right? And they brought out the person who was helpless, could not help himself, was the same person who they brought out something that is helpful to him from him. Like, and then they told you that that was how women came into existence. And after then, there's no any other woman that, I mean, the patriarchy sort of, I feel like the patriarchy formed religion carefully. And this is not only Christianity, it is something that it's like they were forming their perfect, the most perfect weapon that will help with the patriarchy, right? So it crafted religion carefully. And these people studied their environment. They studied how me, I curse people out too. Me, I'm not rude. I will curse you out. I will curse you out. Buddha, what is it? I will curse you out. From what I'm saying, you know that I'm not the kind of religious person that will leave you, right? I'm not even religious to begin with. So they crafted it carefully and studied their environment. That's when you will have, and made sure that they implanted fear carefully in the hearts of women. Women are one of the most difficult people to actually indoctrinate. Women are more difficult to indoctrinate than men, right? If you want, so it has to be, it's just that when you get them indoctrinated,
that's it.
That is it. You don't need to do any further work again, right? Now, they carefully put all the weapons that would help that women will not come out of that indoctrination. It's like you're looking at something that women kind of love a lot. They have a lot of respect for, and they know that women have a lot of respect for any spiritual something that has a higher power.
Yes.
Because I believe that women actually, I do believe women have a little bit of extra spiritual something that
I think
men
I
are
believe
not
so
able to
too.
connect
I
with.
believe so
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
So God, right? So women believe God, women love God, they
Yeah.
reverence God. So it is easier for you to tell them
Use
that
what
God,
they love to manipulate them to.
yes, this thing is from God. So anything that they sell to women in the name of God,
God is also.
women will buy it, right? So they first of all told you that God he created man first. You're the one that is eventually going to be creating the rest of the man and the rest of the woman. Oh. But it was God that created man first. So as he created man, you were now an afterthought. I see you trying to explain to women that you're not an afterthought, right? I would just laugh and be like, but the Bible actually says you're an afterthought. It may not say it directly, but then you were created because a man had a problem, right? And you were then created to suit a man's problem. So, in the manner that they told women that God created man and then he created woman from man, it's just so some pastors would even tell you, oh, woman is just a man with a womb. And that is why, although I have a friend who would say, if you want to know that this thing you're saying does not make sense, say it in Yoruba. He was Yoruba, so he would say it in Yoruba. That is, by saying it in Yoruba, it means that because you hear woman and womb, the
Yes,
English,
that's
so
true.
you will
You
not have it
cannot.
like that in Yoruba. So make sense out of it in Yoruba.
And that's true.
So they'll tell
It's a
you a
language
woman.
rhyme.
Yeah, a woman is a man with a womb and all, right? So they try to make sense of the situation for women, and they tell you that a woman ate a fruit and God was in a garden. God placed humans in a garden, and then they ate a fruit, the fruit that a woman ate and gave to
Adam, the
the
same
man,
head
and
of
then
the
he
woman.
ate it, and God sent them out of the garden, right? Now let's pay attention to God sending them out of the garden after the first mistake, right? Then they will now tell you, now they have told you that God created man in his image. Remember what I said earlier, that when they say man, they were not talking about humans, right? They were talking about male, like man.
Oh.
So if man was created in the image of God,
Yes, yes, you can.
if man was created in the image of God and in the likeness of God, so it means that man's behavior, man's look, everything about man is exactly like God. And that is exactly like this particular thing that women love, women respect, women reverence. Do you understand? So you now, when you're looking at a man, you're actually seeing God. God created man in his image and in his likeness. Do you understand? So even the characteristics of man is the characteristics of God. That's what they are trying to tell you. And you agree with these things. Do you understand? You believe it, so you believe that.
They say she open church. No,
It's
open
our
church.
own
I'll be your
church.
deputy.
Na can go come shut down the church. Christian Association of Nigeria go come shut down the church.
Oh my
So
God.
when they are talking about in his image, it does not include you. Do you understand? So women try to, when they accept religion, and because they are not allowing women to preach, right? Women are trying to preach and tell you that, oh, you are also created in the image of God and in the likeness of God. No, there's nothing about you that when a man is describing God to you, there is nothing about you that sounds like the God that they are describing to you. There's nothing about you that is even related to the God that they are describing to you, right? The God is God the Father, the God is God the Son, the God is God the Holy Spirit, which is speculated to be a man as well, right? So men don't have a difficult time disagreeing with God. They don't have a difficult time refusing to go for God's message, disobeying God. They don't have a time walking out on God, talking bad ill at God. If you see when men are making videos here, why? Because they don't necessarily see God as a higher power. They believe that they are God. And even if they don't believe that they are God, he's their goons. He's some like now we
Like
have
big
the same
partner now.
likeness. We be the same.
Maybe the
Do
same,
you
same,
understand?
same level. Yes, yes, I get it.
Exactly. We are the same. So when women relate with men, they tend to not understand that these people, this God that you reverence, right? These people don't reverence that God in the same manner that you reverence God. They don't take spirituality in the same manner that you are taking
I agree
spirituality.
with that.
They
Yeah.
only take religion because, I mean, organized religion is a tool that was crafted for their use, right? So they are taking that
That's the audacity women need to have too, honestly. Go on,
they are
please.
taking that the truth is, in as much as I want women to have audacity, but beyond audacity, I want us to discuss what works for us. Because when we go further,
Yes.
I want us to discuss what works for us and how women can regain their power. And
Yeah.
I don't mean regain power to oppress or
Fight.
subjugate
No,
another person.
of
The
course.
power that is able to break you from the
The
bondage that
system.
you are in, right? From this system. Because honestly, without women, this system is a dead
Yeah.
on arrival system. Without the participation of women, this is a dead on arrival system. Especially in 2024. I mean, we are not in 1600, we are not in 1800s, we
That's
are
it.
not in early 1900s, right? So women tend to practice religion as if so most times, right? When you come out now and make video and tell them that, okay, you're telling them that this thing may not exactly be what you think or what you believe, they think men practice religion in the same manner that women are practicing religion. It is not the same. It is not the same. The way you go to, why is it that most religious gatherings have more women? Do you understand?
Yes.
And
That thing has been happening since time.
when a man comes to that gathering, they have to make him a leader or give him some form of position in the gathering. So almost all the men in the gathering are not there to submit. They believe they are there to serve, but actually they are there
Control.
to hold positions over women. Right? Yeah, they are there to help put women in check. So I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit.
Do you want me
I'm
to
trying
help?
to retrace where I'm coming from, right?
Do you want me to help?
Okay. So back to Asa conversation.
Yeah.
Women have power. Women are not less than men. If at all you are even superior to a man, if we're even going by the whole beginning of woman coming as a helper, right? But somehow I feel like there's something that happened around that story that we are not getting the actual version of it. If there's in fact something like that, something is like there's a certain evidence that they are hiding around that story of the creation of man. There is an evidence, there is something beyond what they told us. Do you understand? But now I need women to understand that in this whole context of marriage, right? Or relating with men, not just marriage, in relating with men.
I'm busy.
In relating with men, the only place where, as at today, that men have a hold over you today is in marriage or relationship, intimate relationship. So when you come on social media and you're making videos to talk about marriages and relationships, sometimes I get women even come and be like, every time man, every time marriage, can't we discuss money? I'm like, you're being delusional. Your ability to make money is tied to your relationship with a man. Do you get? The fact that you're even able to sit down today and talk about generating wealth on your own, because there's a work that has been done to separate that man from you to a certain level,
Yes.
where you are able to make that money. Before now, women could not do anything without men.
Yes.
So that was how bad the
Not even to buy
subjugation
your own
is.
clothes.
And aside from that, there is nothing. You see this systemic oppression that we are talking about. I don't believe that systemic oppression is going to end until we end oppression within our intimate relationships. Because when we talk about society, if you notice within society, a lot of progress has been made, right? Yeah, one person said Sarah was a businesswoman. That was insane. A lot of progress has been made within society, talking about women can now own farmlands, women can now decide to not marry, women
Yes.
can own businesses, women can sit in meetings with men. People don't understand that it took certain women their lives for you to have that freedom. It's not something that just happened overnight. Some women refused to marry and suffered till death for you to be able to have that opportunity. You understand? But then, in as much as we've made progress within society, when it comes to intimate relationships and the family, not a lot of progress has been made. Right?
Hi.
So when it comes to hi, when it comes to intimate relationships, that is where progress has not been made, and that is where the holds of the patriarchy is still very strong.
Yes.
Because even if they are not physically coercing you into subjugation and submission, they are mentally coercing you. So women are still mentally subjugated,
Yeah.
and it happens within the family. And that is why when a woman comes out of her house, if she's in a board meeting, she feels the need to keep quiet for a junior staff who is a man to speak first before a female who is a female staff, who is a senior staff to speak. Because let's not forget that women actually reverence God, and they've told them that God was created in the image, man was created in the image and the likeness of man, right? Of God. Sorry, man was created in the image of God. So that mental wiring is still there. And also there's another layer that tells you that in a family, I mean the patriarchy, the male in the family is superior to the female in the family. So when you go out to
their own mother.
Yes, when you go out to relate with your world, you believe that men are superior to you. So there's this honor and respect that you give to God, that there's a certain degree of it that is offered to men, right? So women pay attention to the voices of men. And that is why the question of submission is still a topic of conversation till this day. Now, back to the Asa conversation. I just want to ask Christian women, if there's a Christian woman here who can answer me in the comments. If woman is Asa, right, and she's supposed to help man, as in God is Asa, God is helper to man. The Holy Spirit is Asa, the Holy Spirit is helper to man. The soldiers who came to help the Israelis were Asa to them. And that is because those soldiers were stronger and superior to Israeli soldiers, right? If all these people are Azars, at what point is any of these Azar supposed to be in submission? How can you help a person that you are supposed to be subordinate to? And then you're supposed to bring superior help. Do you understand? If Jesus is helping man, because let's take it that the devil has overpowered man, right? And Jesus is supposed to help you gain salvation from a power and a force that is superior to you. It means that even that force that is superior to you, the helper that you have is superior to that force. So at what point is the force that is supposed to help you fight something that is bigger than you supposed to be subject to you? So can you see that the world will never change, right? This world is going to continue to be a terrible place as long as women continue believing that they are supposed to be subject to men. And they told you that a man is supposed to be your protector, and you believe that. That a man that could not help himself, that they brought you, let's even assume that. Now I'm going back. I'm going back to the beginning in the Bible, right? At what point is somebody who is supposed to help you against something wey don't pass your power? Now waiting the person is supposed to help you, but for some reason you are supposed to dominate and rule over the same person that is supposed to help you with something that is superior to you. So can you see why women listening to men is the reason the world is getting bad and it's getting worse? Because if at all we're even going back to this design, if at all this design is true and we're going back to this design, then I agree that women ruin the world by submitting to men, by listening to men. You have no business listening to a man telling you he's supposed to protect you.
That has not finished protecting himself.
He has not protected himself. That was why he needed help. So how is he supposed to protect himself and protect you? At what point? And they even now told you that Nana. But yeah, John. Exactly. So what they got women to believe that what they got women to believe is by telling them that it's like replacing that word Asa with Ebna, who is supposed to be with Ebna, who is supposed to be beneath the person, right? So it's like when the Bible got into translation, there was a little bit of it's like somebody is translating one thing to another thing, and he gave a definition of a helper, that is that Ebna, right? And that's why the whole term of submission flourishing is still flourishing till this day. And let's not forget that thing came from Paul, and Paul is a religious.
He's not even married.
He was never married, and he's a religious scholar, right? So he was practicing their own their own cultural beliefs that has intertwined with religion, and that was the reason why Jesus came in the first place, to prune some of those religious beliefs in the first place. A lot of people believe that Paul was an unbeliever before the intervention. He was not an unbeliever.
He wasn't actually. No.
He wasn't. He was a scholar.
Yeah.
So when they say, why are you forsaking my people, right? Why are you they were actually talking about the message of the people who were following the new message, which is the message of Jesus. Those were the people that
Please focus, please.
All right.
I don't like giving attention to those kind of comments.
So Paul was not actually an unbeliever, right? He was a very brilliant theologian at that. He was that brilliant. So when people hear pastors today and they tell you that these pastors, you hear them today, they are just like Paul. They are just like Paul. That's why you see there's a lot of arguments going on within themselves. Every pastor is coming out to say, I'm not like all these fake pastors that are coming to tell you this. Everybody is not the fake one. Who is the fake one? And then everybody is trying to tell you that, oh, the Bible does not mean this. And everybody is trying to explain what the Bible means, right? Before I even let you speak, because I'm still scared of saying so many things anyway. But I never even begin to talk. They don't run helter-skelter. They tell you that the Bible is a mystery. And the Bible is supposed to be God's word, right? Yeah, Peter disagreed with Paul. The Bible is a mystery, and the Bible is supposed to be God's word. And this God's word, right, is supposed to be something that brings salvation and redemptions of souls. And God's purpose for creating man is to redeem other human beings. Do you get? At this point now, God wants to restore everybody back to him. So how does it make sense to you that you are God? You want to restore people back to you. You want to restore people back to you, but then you put your word in a mysterious way that the same people cannot read it
and understand it.
And their lives will be transformed. And then they tell you that the Bible is mysterious. The Bible is not a mystery. It is just the embodiment of the work of men. That is why to explain their intentions is very difficult. How do you explain the thought of another man? Do you understand? So every pastor, every theologian is trying to make researches, go back to history, do this one, do that one. They are in search for the truth. Everybody is searching, and then somebody will come up with an idea today that will tell you that, oh no, I just got like a revelation. And everybody is telling you God said, and there is no yardstick to measure and be sure that God actually said that thing, right? But then everybody is running helter-skelter, giving one Bible verse. Everybody is getting a new revelation over that particular Bible verse. Everybody is getting fresh revelations over the same thing, right? And they tell you that the word of God is mystery. Now, I have come to a point where I don't care how mysterious the word of God is. I'm not interested. I got to a point that I was like, whatever it is that is the most superior in this life, that spirit being, if you cannot speak to me or reveal yourself to me without this confusion of the Bible, my grandmother did not go to school. She could not read, right? I don't, Badamosi, I don't. If you cannot reveal yourself to me and you are such a mystery, then I don't care about your mysterious life. It means you know Kuku get interest on me. You do. So you must have rest. Do you understand?
Yes.
So anything that I cannot find within myself, that I have to go and be doing mental gymnastics with men in church and with the Bible, honestly, at this point, I'm just at a point where I'm like, I no send. I don't care. Okay, Nana, thank you. I don't care, right? Now, back to what women can do to help themselves, right? I believe that the subjugation of women has become so intense. And since women are the gatekeepers of the patriarchy, right? I believe that as a collective, talking about women in general, every woman will not come up to par and say, I'm interested in actually deconstructing the patriarchy. But to those of us who have deconstructed the patriarchy, who are living independent of the, I will not even say independent, we are still dependent on the patriarchy anyway. But for those of us who get it, women function better as a community.
Yes.
And that is why when a woman gets married, any abuser knows that it is easier. You have to understand that abusers hunt for people, like they hunt for women like the way an animal will hunt for a prey, right? So if every abuser knows that if he disconnects you from your community, it is easier for them to capture you completely, and it is easier for them to abuse you that way. So that is why they tend to separate women from their communities. When you're getting married, they tell you that you should not keep friends. Your friends are no longer this, your friends. So even if they allow you to have a community, they will only allow a community that they have practically crafted that community for you. So they want you to be in community with other married women who are gatekeepers of the patriarchy as well, right? But outside that, you hear women saying nonsense things like, my husband is my best friend.
My husband is my everything. After God
Yes,
is my
I have
husband.
personally warned all my friends. The day I hear you say your husband is your best friend, even if you're in the hospital, call your best friend. Call your best friend. So my friends know very well to not say that fuckery around me, right? So you have to understand that women work better as a community. So we need to go back to building our communities, and these communities are the communities that have been demonized by the society.
They call us gossipers.
Exactly. Go back to gossiping. Social media is something they can take away from you. I am telling you, if you very soon you will see they will start fighting every social media platform that women can use as a resource, right?
You know, I thought of this yesterday. This thought came across my mind yesterday that very soon they will start fighting against women being online.
Exactly. Go back to gossiping. I'm telling you, I am an advocate of gossips. And I enjoy, you see this, I will never tell somebody, oh, she's such a gossip. Yeah, interestingly.
You are disturbing me. When I finish, you will
right?
Everything. Just go for now.
If you go back to gossip, if you go back to having your community, and then within this community, we are telling each other the truth, like we have here. If we are telling each other the truth, you will begin to have less and less interest in the voices of men, right? Not because you have totally deconstructed the patriarchy, but because you now have a community that you listen to, the community that fills you with information and things. If women stop listening to men, honestly, women will do better. But in churches, men are the ones talking to you. In families, men are the ones talking to you everywhere, right? Yesterday, we had a live session with Ola, and it was such a good time that after the live, we went back to analyze the situation, and we're so happy that we had that session, right? Because you could hear women that when we started TikTok and we started coming on live, there were women who would message, they have problems, you know, they were timid, they were scared, they were in their shells, they didn't know. But as we kept on coming on live, we are talking, we have those women speaking up, like talking on the live, they're in the comments, they are saying things, and you can feel that fear is washed, is going. Yes. Do you understand? So when you come into your community, there is liberation within your community. You feel a certain sense of power, right? And then that is why I focus on social media, right? I focus on building community, and then I tell women that you don't have to submit, because that is the voice that men have imputed in your head that is making you to make every other bad decision, right?
Yes.
It's because you believe in submission. So you are, by submitting to a man, you are listening to the voice of a man, and the voice of a man is authority over you. If you deconstruct the word submission, you would understand that if you live in submission, you have never lived. women have never gotten the opportunity to actually live. Do you understand? Because they lack self-governance. From your father governing you,
Yes.
then you get married, you lose autonomy
There was even
again.
a pastor I saw this morning. Is it a pastor? I saw a video rather of a pastor saying things like, "You should not marry a woman who is living alone by herself. That
It's the same
you
Femi
have to
Lazarus now.
marry." Oh, is the one? Okay, actually, I
It's
saw the
the,
video, and it said something about a woman should be in her parents' house until she gets married, and then go from her parents' home to her married home. Because any woman, in fact, I think the word was never
thank
take
you,
a woman,
Stella.
a single woman serious. A single woman living by herself, never take them serious. And
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I want to say something to women. Women don't understand what they represent to life. Do you understand?
this is where I want us to go.
Women don't understand who they are. Let me tell you something. When you come on social media, let's take social media. Let's take let's take social media as a case study. Whenever you hear them talking about marriages, right? Or maybe a man who is married makes videos such as, if my wife is angry at me, and then maybe he's making a skit, like maybe he's scared of his wife, and then he's tiptoeing into the house or something like that. Go and read comments. You will hear
Yes.
men. It's if you read comments, you will know from the comments, you will know the man who is single and the man who is married.
He's married. Yes.
You hear the single one will be like, if that's how it is, I'm never getting married. Or you will
You
hear
have allowed
things
your
like,
wife to
divorce
turn you
her.
to mumu.
Or you will hear things like, divorce her. Now the person making that skit is telling you he's happy to do that. Do you understand? But for some reason, the single ones tend to believe they want control so much, right? But any man who is married, when you see his comment, he will not give you an example of how his wife too will send him to go and buy something. Or they'll be giving certain examples. And they make light of the situation. Sometimes it could be joke that is actually ridiculing women. Do you understand?
Yeah, and those
I
things are
want
very
to tell
subtle
you that
sometimes.
the most dumb woman, the most evil woman that you can think about in this world is a blessing to any man that marries her. And that includes no matter how mighty, big and mighty you think that man is. I don't know if you guys actually know that Jezebel was a blessing to that man that married her.
And also Vashti.
Let me talk about Vashti, my darling, because
Let's go
at
there.
a point I actually changed my name. They were calling me Vashti in my house.
See, Vashti is I think what happened that Esther having that access was just like an opportunity. Vashti is the real deal. She's the real woman. Like
Let us let me see. I want to talk a little bit about the story of Vashti, right?
yes, let's do it.
Hold on. It's in the book of Esther, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's in the book of Esther. So I just want us to see something that they don't tell you in church. Right? He said it was the 3rd year of the reign of King Ahasuerus, emperor of vast Media Persia, with the 127 provinces stretching from India to Ethiopia. This was the year of the great celebration of Shushan Palace, to which the emperor invited all his governors, aides, and army officers, bringing them in from every part of Media Persia. For the occasion, the celebration lasted 6 months, a tremendous display of the wealth and glory of his empire. That was what the celebration was about. Can you see how Werele, when it was all over, the king gave a special party for the palace servants and officials, janitors, and cabinet officials alike for 7 days of revelry held in the courtyard of the palace garden, right? These decorations were green, white, and blue, fastened with purple ribbons tied to silver rings embedded in marble pillars, gold and silver. Drinks were served in blah blah blah. Drinks were served in golden goblets, right? Right.
Yeah.
Then and all the only I'm trying to jump some verses. The only
You can
restriction
jump to
on
9.
the drinking was that no one should compel to take more than he wanted. So you can drink as much as you
As
want,
much
but
as
if
you
you
want.
don't want again, they should not stop you, right? So I just want you guys to take this entire thing and see that a lot of these people were drunk.
Yes.
But those who wished could have as much as they pleased, for the king had instructed his officers to let everyone decide this matter for himself. Queen Vashti gave a party for the women of the palace at the same time. On the final day, when the king was feeling high, half drunk from wine, which means he was tipsy, he told the 7 eunuchs who were his personal aides, Mehuman, Bista, Habona, Bigta, Abagta, Zeta, and Kakas, to bring Queen Vashti to him with
bring
the
her
royal crown
like a
upon
goat.
her head. To the royal crown upon her head, so that all the men
Can
could
gaze.
gaze
What a
upon
ridicule.
her beauty, for she was a very beautiful woman. But when they conveyed the emperor's, let's go back a little bit. He said, from verse 1, he said, right? No. When the party was over, he threw a party for people who were his subjects. Do you understand?
So it
That
was only for the
included,
important people.
not for the important people, that included janitors, which are cleaners,
Cleaners, housemates,
housemaids,
servants,
palace guards, all the gbogbo in the
both dog
palace.
and human being. Okay.
Those are the people you want to display the beauty of the woman.
The wife.
You want
The
those
queen.
people to sexualize and objectify the queen,
Of the
the
land.
person that you married. Do you understand? And then they say, but when they conveyed the emperor's order to Queen Vashti, she refused to come. What did that woman understand? She understood she had autonomy and she exercised agency and autonomy. She self-governed.
Yes.
The king was furious. So just in case they are telling you that you must be a submissive wife, and these men are angry that because you are a wife, you refuse to say what your husband is saying, it is okay to disobey that man that you're married to. If he suggests something that you don't want,
is
it is
ridiculous.
okay to disobey that man. You are a governor over yourself. If you don't learn the ability to self-govern and you don't learn that you have autonomy over yourself, you will be used for experiments by men. Men are very experimental. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Men will
And they-
experiment with everything
and they
as
don't
long
care
as
if
you
they
make as long as you make your life available for them, as long as you make your life available, right?
Available, yes.
One thing with men is that they like testing things, but they don't want to first test with their life. They will use your life
And they
to
don't
test.
care. They don't care about the outcome.
Exactly. There's this pastor, this particular pastor I said I was attending his church earlier. He said that he is a healing minister. Do you understand? And he brags that neither him nor his family have ever taken medicine. So even Panadol never enter in children's mouths. These children will be sick from malaria. According to them, they don't give these children drugs. So you will see the children in the church running temperature, all that. You know, these things can only happen in Nigeria, right? Because you cannot
In a
report
country
them
like
and then
this,
have
they will
protective
collect your
service to come
children.
and take them.
They will collect
He
your
said
children. That's
this man
negligence.
is testing his faith on top of his children.
With children.
If
Can
you
imagine?
don't learn autonomy as a woman, and you cannot learn autonomy if you believe in the idea of submission. And this message is why a lot of people, even when I come here and tell them by themselves that I am a married person, they still don't agree that I am married. A lot of women think I'm lying about being married.
Because it doesn't make sense to their logical, their own mind that you can't
That-
be married and be talking the way you are talking. How dare
That
you?
was why I wore this ring here. So I came here to do things.
I didn't even notice.
I'm telling you. I know that a lot of them want me to post my wedding pictures and all. You get. a group of men organized a live to talk about me, and they swore that I was not married, and even
Wow.
if I was married, that even if I was married, the things I'm saying, I'm only saying it on social media. I don't practice it in my home. And my friend went to the page and she was trying to defend me with her chest. I told her, stop wasting your
need.
time.
There's no
Don't
need.
do that. This lady that I'm talking about, she knows me. She comes, in fact, she recently had a baby. When she was pregnant, throughout that pregnancy, she was always in my house. Like, she sleeps in my house throughout. This lady knows me to the house and she knows how I live. Do you get? You have autonomy over yourself. I can
so happy
say
I'm able to
no
record this
to
on YouTube.
anything that some people were asking me on one live that I was on. I think it was Ola's live, right? Ola, I think it was your live, where they were asking that this thing that I'm saying, are my in-laws hearing it? I'm like, hey, I have autonomy over myself, over my body. I govern myself, right? And they'll be like, oh, your husband must be feminist. He must not be feminist. Why? Because he has authority over himself. He governs himself. And my views and his own views, in fact, they don't have to be the same. Do you understand? But I also know that if you make any decision that is dangerous to me, I will remove myself from that situation.
As it should be.
So women have to learn self-governing. For you to even be able to enter into your full potentials as a woman, you must learn to govern yourself. But you cannot govern yourself if you still believe in the idea of submission, right? Now, let's go back to the Bible. The king was furious, but first consulted his lawyers, for he did nothing without their advice. This is somebody who is married, but he does nothing. You're consulting your lawyers over your wife. Why? I'm trying to address that issue of women are emotional.
Thank you.
They were men of wisdom who knew the temper of the times as well as Persian law and justice, and the king trusted their judgment. These men were Kashina, Sheta, Admata, Tashish, Meres, Masina, and Memucan, 7 high officials of Media Persia. They were his personal friends as well as being the chief officers of the government. I'm saying this to address the issue of women going back, when they tell you marry a man who has people he respects. That is bullshit. When they tell you that, their name is funny, really. When they tell you to marry a man who has somebody he respects, that person he respects, Phoebe Olodo.
And that's true.
Then he said they were his personal friends as well as being the chief officers of the government. What shall we do about this situation? He asked them. What penalty does the law provide for a queen who refuses to obey the king's order? Right? Orders. Memucan answered for the orders. Okay, who refused to, properly send through his aid. Memucan answered for the orders. Queen Vashti has wronged not only the king, but every official and citizens of your empire. Something that I want to tell women is this, right? When they are coming to tell you that, the man is the king and you're the queen, and you think being the queen is one special position that they are giving you.
This place just confirmed that it is not.
Do you know that those other people, his friends, they outrank you in that position that they are telling you? So I'm saying this to the Munio Dogus them, right?
Even the president's wife. In our
Exactly.
time.
Exactly. So Memucan answered, the king has not officials of this and the citizens of your empire. For women everywhere will begin to disobey their husbands, right? When they learn what Queen Vashti has done. So these people are responding based on they want to keep on
Their
controlling
fear,
other women as
control.
well. So
They are
they
afraid that
don't
people
want,
will start talking.
they were not necessarily giving advice that was best, uh
For the
that
king.
was I that was best for the king. They were not speaking with the king in mind. So they now said, and before this day is out, the wife of every one of us officials throughout your empire will hear what Queen did, and we start talking to us husbands the same way. And there will be contempt and anger without your realm, throughout your realm. We suggest that subject to your agreement, you will issue a royal edict, a law of the Medes and Persians that can never be changed.
Last, the law self is literally for their selfish gain.
It was for their selfish gains.
They create laws to bind women. The laws are not with good intentions for women. It's just for their selfish and control. Like they're just control freak. It's just all about them, their ego, and whatever it is they want to cover.
Exactly. That Queen Vashti be forever banished from your presence. You are taking a law on your own wife to banish her from your presence so that other women will not disrespect their husbands. It's not like you don't have interest in the woman. Okay, now that I've finished, I can remove this ring. It's not like you don't. It just they disturb me. It's not like it's not like you don't want the woman anymore. But because you have power and power corrupts, you feel
Yes.
like you can do anything at any
Anything.
time, right? He said you choose another queen, right? They should banish her from his presence, and that you should choose another queen more worthy than she, right? When this decree is published throughout your great kingdom, husbands everywhere, whatever their rank, will be respected by their wives. So let me tell you what the likes of Femi Lazarus is preaching, what the likes of Mildred Okonkwo, Kingsley Okonkwo, and the rest are preaching is not a strange message. At the core of every system that works with patriarchy, this is their message. Do you get? So when these
Control.
people tell you that they are preaching something spiritual and that is how God wants it, it is not God. This is something that sits the desires of men is to control women. So you can see that they made this king to make that decision and told him that he cannot go back on what he has said. And don't forget, the word of a king is a king's action is bounded by his words. Abi, a king is bounded by his words, and they have already told him this particular one you cannot go back on it. Will be respected by their wives. The king and all his aides through thought this made good sense. The king and all his aides thought this made good sense. So he followed Memucan's counsel and sent letters to all of his provinces in all the local languages, stressing that every man should rule his home. So when these people are telling you that what they are preaching to you is scriptural, it is what God wants, and a woman will tell you that she was having quarrels with her husband and she went to God in prayer and God told her to submit to her husband, that is a lie. These things are the things that are desires of men that they reenact on
I
you
agree.
in society, and they tell you that God said so.
Yes. Yes.
So which God? They are talking about the God that
sorry to cut you. I had one experience when I was about, I think I was 7, so about to leave my previous marriage. Meanwhile, it's a narcissistic marriage. It's been abused from day one. You know, when people are saying they experience honeymoon, me, there was no honey, let alone moon. It was abused from day one. And so when it got to
you experience bitter leaf moon.
oh, that's the word. So when it got to the year I was to leave in February, we had, it was I think it was either early morning or late in the night. You know the way narcissists will just come and out of pencil, they will create a big issue and then you merry-go-rounding and nothing makes sense. So that day it has happened and I was just tired. And I was like, God, I don't know, I'm tired. I can't keep going in this circle. Like, I don't see this ever changing, ever adjusting. And I was praying that prayer, and in less than, I don't think I even prayed that prayer for up to 2 minutes. I just saw like an elderly man looked at me and he walked away from where I was to another place that was really looking elderly. And he beckoned on me that when you are tired, you will get up and leave where you are. And I understood that it was that married. But for some reason, I didn't leave. I didn't leave because divorce is a sin. The church I was in, submission. Yeah, even the person I was married to, as a wife, you have to keep submitting. If you don't want to go to hellfire, and if you know you love the Lord, blah 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 blah, and all those things were my cage until I broke free. And that breaking free was not easy. In fact, it was a battle in my head against. I was fighting in my head about, is it really is? In fact, I remembered that when I finally applied for divorce, it was not because I wanted to. It took the judge to tell me that if you don't apply for divorce, I will say that I will assume that you and him are conniving to cheat the system. That was what made me to go and apply for divorce. That was when I realized that there are so many things that they have structured in the Bible in such a way that a woman do not have a voice. It has been so done in a way that if you not want to start talking, they start labeling you as a bitter woman. They label you as insubordinate and a woman that can never be submissive. And then they start projecting their fear on you that no man can marry you. And you are now wondering if you told them you are looking for a man. They make life so difficult for women to a point where you cannot even think and question the things that they are preaching to you. And then when you question those things, you are seen as a very disrespectful and rebellious person. That one, I started having that title for a long time, that I'm very rebellious. I go against the Bible doctrine, blah blah blah. And it is like the God they are serving is a God that is afraid of their questions. The God you are serving is the kind of God that when you are giving your life to Jesus and you are getting born again, you are also literally submitting your brain so that you are not thinking again. It's just all about anything they say, yes, sir, and you are doing it. And so when someone like me comes and you are coming out and saying these things are wrong, they begin to say all sort of things and also create the fear of hellfire in your heart that you are going to go to hellfire, God is going to judge you. In fact, your judgment is going to... Someone actually literally caused their ancestors yesterday that I'm going to go to hell and that because I'm misleading women, that their blood will be required from me. So, these are the things that I hear and I see, and they use it. It is more of a tool to enslave women. It's not a tool to liberate women. It's a tool to enslave women and cause women to stay in silence and not ask questions. And so when you are asking questions, you are quickly shut down using the same Bible. The day I read this vast story, I was like, this is my kind of woman, a woman that doesn't take rubbish. And I remember even when I was doing that divorce thing, I was like, but wait, let me be honest with myself. I'm already living in hell. I was in hell. See, this skin is fine now. I was black. This hair here was the same with my face. I was black. And that's not I was not sleeping well. I was sleeping just 2 hours a day. That's a total of 2 times 7, 14 hours a week. It was that bad.
And that was the same amount of sleep you needed for 2 days.
I was not myself. I was forgetting myself. In fact, I was forgetting my own name. If you call me, what's your name? I will say, my name is Deborah. It's not my name. That was that bad, but someone was preaching to me to forgive because God has said we should forgive. And everything was not making sense to me. Then me too.
And the same God could not forgive Adam and Eve on the first sin that they did.
The first sin, multiple sin. If it was multiple sin, it was okay. They repeated because even me, I may forgive for the first one, but when it's becoming consistent, I know that's a pattern. I'm not taking it. So God did not instantly. There was out of Eden. They don't want you to eat the tree of life or this thing. So I'm thinking forgive. I'm like, why are you telling me to forgive? Because now he has come to lie to you people that I'm not forgiving him. But when I was telling you people that he was abusing me, what were you telling me? Be more patient. Are you sure you are cooking for him? Are you sure you are you are not depriving him? They just, it's more of more laws, more laws, more laws just for me. But he, meanwhile, I told them of how he's sleeping around with every Tom, Dick, and Harry that I lost count. And they were like, ah, that's really simple. Don't worry, we'll be praying with you. That is even if they did pray. Somehow the rules will keep growing. And now they are going, like, the reality is just like as if, stop trying to even expect them to even reason with you. Just do what you know is right by you. And
The
I
truth is
say
that
one thing, the world will adjust.
the truth is that when you, I like what you said, that when you were in that situation, you saw somebody come to you and tell you that position you are, get up and leave. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because what I would hate is when women would tell you that they got a scripture that liberated them.
No,
When it comes to your abuse, there is no
there's
scripture
no
that will
scripture.
bring you
Yeah.
liberation as
And
a
I had
woman.
multiple dreams showing me that I should leave.
So, because like I said earlier, this is a book that was written by men for men. So your liberation from abuse from a man cannot come from this book, because this book, it describes you as a tool for a man, both for the inefficiencies of a man, for the pleasure of a man. This is how you are represented in the book, right? So your liberation, whenever I'm like, somebody is like, oh, I'm being abused, and then God sent a scripture, you will just off me from there.
Whenever I see that thing, me, I you lose me. You lose me.
That's
I don't
Can I
bother.
can I quickly add something?
yeah.
Just in case there's any woman here who is being abused in marriage, listening to all of this, I don't want you to take what Ruth shared as a template for you to think. Thank you for
Please,
the
oh, don't
tips,
wait.
Christy.
Oh.
I don't want you to take it as a template and expect God to send you a dream for
It will
you
not
to
always happen.
think that's what you need to live. I believe God deals with
But
us
different.
in different ways. For those of us that are moms, the how we deal with each of our children is different,
Yeah.
right? Because they have different personality, different oh, Eti Achiever. Okay. So I don't want you to think, okay, I have to keep asking God, I have to keep asking God. God had to do what he had to do to speak to Ruth in that manner, probably because she was never going to leave otherwise. Do you get?
I think
For
you are right.
yeah, for you,
My fear
for
was of the church, religion, what they will say. That it's not even what people will say. It was more of the church and the expectations of people on me. Like they look up
yeah.
to me. So that fear. So I agree with you. No, don't please don't wait for that to
So
happen
for
to you.
you,
In fact, this
for
video
you,
should be your own cue.
exactly. For you, it could be the way will speak to you could be you stumbling upon the TikTok page of one of us talking about these things,
Yes.
explaining scriptures to you and how Bible and all of these things. That could be your own dream.
Yes.
You don't need to go and sleep to dream a dream. This could be your God showing you your own way out. Okay. And the reason it's important to point this out to Christian women is that they can now take that thing that you said as a template and
Thank you.
be
You're right.
fasting and be praying and be asking for a dream. And no, your own dream might just be you stumbling upon the word narcissism or something on social media, and you start to be like, oh my god, this is exactly what is happening in my marriage. Oh, that could just be it for you. For me, it was just a podcast that blew my brain apart. And even after I listened to that podcast, I was still like, My case is different.
Mine was my parents' marriage. The first time I knew I was in an abusive marriage was 2016. I knew, and then I stumbled on one article online, and it felt like whoever was writing that thing is leaving my house. But I didn't leave until 2018 December. It took like, I don't even know. I think it has to take God to come and drag me. That was my case. Because it's like God is like, He has opened my eyes through my parents' marriage. My parents' marriage, I made a video recently about it. My parents' marriage, they don't shout at each other. They have disagreement, but the minute somebody is getting angry, the one person just soften up, like, okay,
then I'm happy to hear that.
And they settle it, right? So that was my parents even listened to me. I remember my dad traveling for one of his contracts, and he was to come back on that particular day. And my mom told me, I was like, no, I don't want my dad to come back. My mom was like, why would you want your dad to come back? I said, because he beats me. That was the last time my father beat me. I was 9 years. So I was a child that was listened to. So I compared their marriage to the one I was in, and I was like, this one is not married. But I still did not leave. I stumbled on an article. In fact, I called domestic helpline. They called me back. I did not pick the call. Because on church women have told me not to pick the call. And then it continued. I started discovering, but it took 2018 to happen with multiple dreams. But the truth is, you may not have that luxury if you're waiting like me.
And some people, even if you don't come across something that ministered to you, your anger is enough. Your anger is enough.
Your resentment, your anger.
Yes.
It's not sign. Your feelings.
Your anger does not come from the devil, like you've been told.
Your anger is not from the devil.
It's a gift. I know they have demonized all of these emotions, but they are all gifts. Even God gets angry, for heaven's sake. The God
they say that angry all the time, and honestly, I'm happy to teach women to leave their relationships. Honestly, me, I am pro-divorce. I am pro-divorce.
It's an option.
If divorce wants to do advertisements, you should put my picture on the billboard. I tell people it will never come out of my mouth that I'm not for divorce, but no, I am for divorce. It saved my life. And God said, divorce saved my life.
I will be mental health.
Divorce that saved my life.
I will still come back to that conversation of our men need to do better. I'll come back to that conversation. Our men don't need to do better. But I'll come back to the conversation.
Don't even expect them, really.
So back to the Bible, right? So it says that in all the local languages that they should send it. They sent, the king and all his aides thought this made good sense. So he followed Memucan's counsel and sent letters to all of his provinces in all of the local languages, stressing that every man should rule his home and should assert his authority. Now, verse 2 says, but after King, listen to this carefully, right? But after King Ahasuerus' anger had cooled, he began brooding over the loss of Vashti.
But his ego will not allow him to acknowledge it.
Even if his ego allowed him, he couldn't have gone back, because it's like they have, it's like in those days, right? It's like there is a certain procedure that if you go all the way, it becomes a permanent rule. That one becomes so it's just like saying you went to police station and you documented your statement in a letter-headed paper. You can't go back on it. Do you understand? They've been stamped, they've been sealed, and
too late.
So it's too late. They say he realized that he would never see her again. So his aides suggested, let us go and find the most beautiful girls in the empire and bring them to the king for his pleasure. I want you guys to know what Esther represented. So just before they will come, I don't want to bad girl with you. I'm giving Esther. I saw one voice this thing like I'm giving Esther. I'm giving Ruth in the Bible and all. Esther was used for the pleasure of the king. So that bad girl that you think you are not giving hot girl, Esther was made to give hot girl. Maybe on another day we'll talk about Esther's how
They groomed her.
they no how they just used her for this
She was trafficked.
she was trafficked,
Trafficked,
right?
yes.
Human traffickers.
Exactly. So before all these people idolizing what Esther represented, oh, she was the wife of the king, she was the chosen one. You know, in the same manner when men do tinko, tinko, tikoroko and just pick one woman, and the woman will come here and wear a ring and do tin tin tin.
I see what you're doing there.
That was what Esther.
You just happen to be a woman with breast and vajayjay, and that is all. That is all. That's
Oh
all
my
it
God.
is.
That was what Esther. That was what Esther represented. So they said to the king for his pleasure, we will appoint agents in each province. Can you guys realize that something happened to the king? He was bitter about his decision. He regretted. Other translation will tell you he regretted his actions, right?
Yeah.
So we will appoint agents in each province to select young lovelies for the royal harem. Haggai, the eunuch in charge, will see that they are given beauty treatment. And after that, the girl who pleases you most shall be the queen instead of Vashti. So when women just come and be like, oh, the selection process for men is the same. So a man picking you, this goes to talk about the conversation I was having yesterday about marriage being an achievement. It doesn't mean jack shit. That a man picked you does not mean shit.
Why
Because
do you
he
even think
had,
to be picked if you're not thinking low of yourself?
he did it. When they say he would have to, he tested all the girls. So they brought ready, he will sleep with all of them. The one that pleasures him the most, na him be the one wey go.
What a mindset.
It's like when you go to market to buy chicken and they're like, Madam, which one do you want? And you're like, wait, let me carry this one.
And at the end of the day,
Let
you
me
now go
carry
and
that
cook the
one.
chicken and used to to cook
Let
soup.
me, I think this one, I'll go with this one. And the chicken now comes to TikTok to come and show us the ring. Tinny, tinny, tinny.
Only to be roasted later for us soon. I beg.
That reminds me of one advert of Funman juice. Who remembers back in, I think that it was around early 2000s also. Pick me, mommy. Why wasn't I picked? I also want to be a Funman juice. And then the mother orange was like, "Don't worry, dearest. When you're fully grown and mature, you will definitely be a Funman juice, just like your daddy." Then the father was in the basket. Ooh, I finally made it.
I beg. Well, this mindset is did I mention that marriage is not an achievement? It's not that I came for their life. And then they were like, it's because I'm divorced. I'm like, people create a new line.
Love me small on you, be fair.
Create a new line. It's all whenever they are talking about facts and reality, you people are quick to try to just shame someone and think that shaming will make them silent.
And if they know, men recently were found sleeping with turkeys. Turkey, let me not even say turkey before English will confuse you guys and think turkey is somebody's name. Turkey where they use chop spaghetti.
A
Men,
food processing company that processes, like slaughters turkey and processes and package it to look the way it to be when you go to store to buy frozen turkey, right? They were graping turkeys, bragging
sorry
about it
to
to
put me.
co-workers.
Seriously.
And this
Do you
is a
know since
big
that day,
brand.
I've not been able to eat turkey because I'm just saying like, man, no can go test one man semen. Oh.
This is a
And you
big
guys,
brand
it's not even in Nigeria, but
in the
I'm
US.
scared.
Oh. Like it's not even a small plant, it's a big name, big brand this thing in
Wow.
the US. And who knows how long they've been doing it before they got found out, right?
And who knows if they do it in the one in Nigeria as well. Hey, Tofumi say creamy turkey. So you guys, coming back to the conversation of women don't know their power, and like I was saying that
Close the door.
a woman who is uneducated, who is narcissistic, who is probably an ashawo, still has a lot of value, right? I'm telling you, she's more valuable to a man than you can imagine, right? With anybody who has marriage experience, I can tell you that it doesn't matter. You know, when my brother had an issue with his wife, people were talking to me and they were like, "Oh, do you know what? That me, I'm supporting his wife. Do I know what she did to my brother too?" I'm like, even if assuming my brother was without fault, eh? Assuming my brother was without fault, and the lady was such an evil person, she is not as half of a danger to that guy, to him, as much as he is to her. And besides, that's not even the case, right? Women need to understand that the day you marry a man, you give him life. I don't know how to explain it.
It's deep
You give him life.
and meaning.
Why do you guys feel like married men live longer than single men? And this thing is something that there are researches, there are studies to prove. Married men live longer than single men. And then single women live longer than married women. Women give men life. That's why a 70-year-old widower still seeks to marry. Because outside of money, outside of children, you know, whenever they start this argument of, oh, what do you bring to the table? And women are trying to defend themselves by saying they bring children. I'm like, that is not even the argument point though. That is not the argument point. Men don't, you are arguing with men over this wrong thing. Men don't want children. The way you think men want children. So your argument can never make sense to them because they don't even want those children that you're trying to tell them that you went through this, you gave him children. It is work. It's like you're telling them that they should appreciate you for punishing them. Because this man does not make I watch my mouth for this life. But I'm telling you, this man one day, he wants to be sleeping with you steady. That is what makes him happy, right? Those children, men do not marry and bargain for service. A woman bargains, thank you guys for the gift. A woman bargains to go and serve a man when she's getting married. She does not mind cleaning, cooking, doing this one for him, doing that. Men do not dream about those things. In fact, they don't expect it to ever happen. Just this afternoon before I came on this live, I was watching this video of Chude that he was interviewing this Bimbo, late Bimbo's husband, late Bimbo's friend, right? And what I kept hearing from that lady was like, she was expecting this man to have empathy for his wife. That even if you don't love her, she has 5 children, she had 5 kids for you. The woman was emphasizing that she had, IVD's wife, She had 5 kids. So I had just finished crying before I came on this live, actually. When I
Wow.
watched that thing, I've been crying
I've not
since.
watched it. I only saw the snippets.
I was crying because I was imagining what happened to that lady, right? That you got that level of bond and they are working hospital to hospital, and that she's begging the man. She was begging the man that why are
Thank you so
you
much for the
doing
gifts.
with that bonds on her body? She was begging, why are you doing this to me now? Why are you doing this to me? You know, this kind is like your whole life will flash before your eyes, that you have lived and served this person all your life. And even if with everything the person has done to you, you have the will to forgive the person. Only if these last hours of your life, let the person just show you affection so that you can feel like at least you lived and served for something. Your life meant something to him. That the guy will push her and be like, shift now. I'm already tired. You guys, it was painful to watch. That was somebody that so when you're emphasizing that you had kids for this man, when you're busy saying you had kids for him, you are emphasizing to him, you're reminding him that you put him through pain and responsibility. The way you fantasize about these responsibilities that you're going to have in marriage, men don't fantasize over those responsibilities. They don't care if they have children. They don't care about those children. And that is why it's easy for them to get up and leave a relationship, no matter how many kids you have with them. So stop imagining in your head that what makes you a woman is your ability to bear children. You are a woman because you are a woman, right? Your children do not make you a woman. And the value that a man perceives from you is not those children. He does not place value on those children. He doesn't. So I beg you in the name of God, and women are powerful when they remove themselves from this role of being mothers.
Yeah.
And you are useful. Let me tell you something, a handicapped woman is still of great value to a man. I don't know how to explain this thing to you. But a woman who is handicapped, that cannot stand up on her feet, the fact that you were socialized as a woman to have let me give you guys a few examples of things that you do for a man. I'm not saying this for you to use it to argue. Don't argue with men about your value.
That's just
If a man would ever question, even if he questions himself and you perceive that he's questioning that what value do you bring to him, even if you've been married to this man for 10 years, I beg you in the name of God, leave that relationship. Because you're going to live your entire life proving to this man that you are worthy of love or you are worth it. But he is never going to see your worth, not because he does not benefit from your worth. He will benefit from your worth, and he will not even appreciate you, and you will be sick. When they tell you that, women, please help me block this idiot. This Trizy be what? Because there are some really small boys on TikTok that I think they lack home training. That they come to spaces, you're not seeing anybody that looks like your mate.
I've blocked him, don't worry. I've blocked him.
Just know that, right? At every point of your life as a woman, I was seeing a video of Oroko, Michael Oroko, for who he was trying to explain how women move from being girls, and that your glory as a girl is in your body, to
But
being
what? Wait,
ladies, to being
wait.
ladies.
Wait. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm trying to really get that what he said. He said a woman's glory is what?
That her glory is in her body. A girl's glory, he didn't say a woman, a
Okay,
girl's
girls.
glory is in her body. Then she transcends to be a lady, then she becomes a wife. He was talking about that. So he now was giving examples. He's like, if a lady is still exposing herself on social media, she's still a girl. She has not moved from being a girl to being a lady. So a woman who is career driven, who is mentally sound, that's a lady. Then the highest realm is to be a wife. That is somebody who you have to be in submission to a man. So that makes you a wife. Do you understand? And
And some women get stuck in the level of lady. The
yeah,
women that don't marry, they get stuck. They don't get to
So
the
once you're not married, you are still a lady. You are not a woman.
yeah. In fact, if you dress and your glory
These
is
are
in
the
your
times I'm
body, you
always
are
happy
a
I'm not
girl.
following so many of those people.
So that means these people use English to disrespect women, and women sit in these congregations
And they'll be
and
laughing.
think that this is Rema. You have a
They'll
dictionary.
not be
What
shouting
does it
glory,
mean to be a
glory
girl?
on top rubbish.
When I stitched that video, it was women who attacked me.
They are usually the ones. It's like men
Tofumi,
that loves their
I'm
child.
angry. Tofumi say, I will buy my glory push-up bra.
So for me, I beg. It looks like we go seize your
Tofumi out
phone.
of here.
It looks like we are going to seize your phone because your comment today is epic. Hey God.
So they would say things like that, and women will think they need to be doing more. Women are constantly learning, constantly trying to improve or deprove. Women are never at a rested space. They are never at a
That
place where
was
they
rested
appreciate.
space.
They are never at a place where they appreciate how far they have come and built themselves as humans, right? So you will organize marriage seminar. Now women dey there. You are just over educating yourself to go and mate with an underdeveloped person who is suffering from developmental arrest,
That is stagnant.
that is stagnant. So women are trying to learn to go and submit to somebody who knows absolutely nothing. If he's an engineer, the only thing he knows is his engineering craft.
That's
If he's
all.
a lawyer, the only
But
thing
that's
he
because
knows
he went
is
to
his
school.
law.
Some of them,
Exactly.
they don't grade
So they
to
don't
carry
know
it.
anything. Why are you running helter skelter from one church, one seminar, this one on how to improve yourself as a woman for a man? You're learning how to make relationship work. I will tell you this every time. You don't need relationship advice. You don't need relationship coaching or dating advice or if your relationship gets hurtful sometimes, maybe you guys are unable to resolve conflict. I didn't mean abuse. It's okay
Conflict,
for
yeah.
you to go and look for help, right? You can get counseling on how to resolve conflict, but you are not to get relationship coaching. That I heard that a lot of you are there paying people like Kingsley $900 to coach you. You don't coach.
Pay
You
me.
don't need coaching. Relationship, the only thing you need is to communicate your needs to your partner, and you guys find a way to marry, to be like your partner tells you what they need, you tell them what you need from them.
The interesting thing about this is that a person that will understand you will not need you to overtalk. You won't, like, you just say it once and they are running with the vision. But the minute you're having to always repeat one thing, you are married to your baby. And
If you learn these things, you will know that you don't need communication skills. If you learn these things, you will know that you don't need communication skills. If you need to go and learn about a relationship from somebody, about how to build a relationship from somebody, you are in an abusive relationship, if you feel the need to go and learn how to please a person and the things that he's telling you, and listen, one of the ways to know that that relationship is abusive is the thing that he desires from you, right, are things that will warrant you dehumanifying yourself in order to get that across to
Humiliate
him.
yourself.
Yeah, there's a difference between, oh, I want you to buy me flowers, I want you to be taking me out, I want you to talk to me when there's a problem. Those are things that, those are needs that somebody can communicate. I want
Yes.
us to
Timmy,
be sleeping together a little bit more. Do you get?
Timmy, Timmy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Please, I want you to talk a bit about communication and conflict resolution skills. When women are being abused, they think there's conflict in their marriage. They don't
Yeah, I
understand
think,
that there is a difference between conflict, lack of
Yeah.
communication, and abuse.
yeah, I think I'm trying to explain to them what it means to have communication self that is healthy, right? And then things that the requirements that a person should request from you, that is a healthy relationship, right? Somebody is asking you that, oh, look at what women, I was speaking with a lady one time like that, and she was telling me that they had conflict, and the guy told her a lot of things, and the guy was insulting, she not no she told me that they insulted themselves. Do you get? So I now told her, can you remember what you were telling this guy that was an insult, and can you remember the things that he told you that you thought were insults, right? Like, communicate, like, tell me. And she was telling me that he told her she does not have home training, she's a bastard, she's stupid, like she was calling things, right? Then I now said, okay, so I was writing it down, and I now told her, tell me what you told him that was an insult. Then she said she told him that she regretted meeting him, she caused the day that she met him. Can you see the
The
difference
difference.
between, this guy was verbally
Abusing
insulting
her.
her, he was abusing her and her, in fact,
She just stated facts about her
she just
experience.
stated how she
Being
felt
insulting.
about his
Her
behavior.
feelings.
And I told her, do you realize that you just told me here that the both of you were insulting each other, but this guy was abusing you, you were expressing your feelings. There's a difference between what the both of you were having.
Absolutely.
And she kept quiet. This is how a lot of women will go, they will call you in family meetings and be like, how dare you say this to your husband? And they never consider the things that he said to you. It is okay for you to be triggered when a person says things to you, right? So he insulted her, and she believed that she insulted him back. I was now asked, so women need to understand. Let's talk a little bit about conflict, differences between conflict and abuse, right? Conflict is that you are trying to you're trying to explain something to me, and then maybe I don't understand it in the manner at which you're not, I'm not understanding exactly what you're trying to say. Or maybe I did something, right? Or let's say I went out, and then I'm giving an example, and I did not come back early, and my battery was off, so I could not call you, and you panicked. And I came back home, and you're like, oh, I've been worried, and I've been calling you, what happened? And you're like, oh, my battery went off and off. Then you can be like, please, next time, get somebody's phone so you can, because I was really worried. That is conflict and conflict resolution, right? Then there's a difference between you coming back home and the person is shouting on you, even if he does not insult you, but he's raising your voice. You will just keep somebody worried in the house. You'll be doing as if you don't have sense. Can't you collect phone battery from somebody? That is abuse. Those two situations are not the same. I didn't even realize that happened to you. So those situations are not the same. And the person can tell you when you guys sit down and you feel so dehumanized, you feel so small that the person spoke to you in that manner, and the person can say something. I don't they tell you before, try they use your brain. If your phone off, why you no go fit just collect person phone, call me. Now you left me to be worried. And then there's a part of you that is confused because you think this person is reacting this way because they genuinely love you. Do you understand?
Yes.
That is not love. You are being abused. You're being abused. And that thing he's trying to express, because he has bottled up anger, he's trying to relieve himself of that energy that he bottled up, which is anger. And then he's dumping that energy on you, right? This particular thing, it was I and Ola that were having a conversation, and she said this to me that it sort of, I loved that a lot. That she was like, she said, anger is energy. Yeah, we know anger is energy that is just bottled up. So, Ola, can you help me with how you put that thing? Anger is just bottled up energy. You just find a way to relieve that
You have
anger,
to find
right?
a way to get it out of your body.
Out of your system. So that person kept that energy, and the person dumped that energy on you. And then you, on the other hand, they've socialized you that if a man is talking and a man is angry,
Quiet.
they've told you in church that you should keep quiet, and later up in the night, you can go, and when he's sleeping, you go and tell him that, honey, this thing that you did, I didn't really like it, right? So you have accepted that energy, and you did not get a chance to relieve that energy. So that energy eventually becomes a disease in your body. That's how women fall sick from abuse.
Yes. It has been proven. Even recently, there's been a recent research about the fact that many of the health challenges women are experiencing are as a result of resentment, anger, suppressed emotions. So all the cancer, high blood pressure, all those terminal diseases are related to suppressed emotions.
Exactly. So Kenu said, what if you talk and he beats you? The thing is this: if I ever keep quiet, then I know that I'm leaving that relationship. Yeah, young love, high
Ask
cortisol.
Keno. I want to ask Keno something. Keno, if I am your friend, you and I are friends, and then you say, oh, Ola, this thing, and I don't like how you are doing this, so, and then I beat you up, what will you do? What will happen to our friendship? Keno.
But for some reason, we won't do it with man.
Exactly. So women just accept everything that the society tells them, that they need to suppress that anger.
Yeah.
Right? And they keep suppressing that anger, because when that man says that and he turns and tell you that, oh, this thing, I was just angry, that was why I said that, right? He will just come and tell you that when maybe you keep quiet and you're ignoring him, right?
To blame you again, even on top of their
Because
action.
somebody mentioned something in my comment section when I was talking about silent treatment. A girl had asked me in the comment section that her spouse gives her silent treatment. So I now made a video to respond to her and tell her that she's being abused. So if a man is doing that, he's abusing her. And then a guy came there and put laughing emoji, and he was like, women do this all the time. Do you understand? When men tell you that women do the silent treatment, and women actually believe that they do silent treatment, I'm here to tell you that you are not doing any silent treatment. Because in this situation,
women don't do it.
They don't do it.
They are the ones always begging and looking for peace to reign.
When they keep quiet, right? What men call silent treatment, given this scenario that I just said, a woman who does not know, because this man has dehumanized her, so she's in her feelings, and you cannot respond to him because a lot of women are scared, so you don't trigger more anger.
Yeah.
You're not shouting back at him, so you're just quiet. And because you are feeling dehumanized all this while, you will be quiet. Do you understand? So women keep quiet and they don't know how to come back to that lovey-dovey, because it is embarrassing to come back and try to play lovey-dovey. So they are usually very quiet. then they tell you that women are playing silent treatment. It is not the same thing. It is not the same thing. So women are used to accepting all these things, and when they say, oh, they will tell you, oh, me too, I have my own. A woman will get out of a relationship, and then they will tell you that when you're discussing that kind of scenarios with men, they will tell you, you too, you must have done something to trigger him and all.
Lying.
Those things are not true. I'm telling you, show me 1,000 divorced women, and I will show you if there is a woman, if there are women amongst them who were actually wrong, there will not be more than 3. There will not be more than 3 who actually go to therapy, who will actually tell you women do not do things wrong. Oh. Because if women were actually doing things wrong, men would be the one. Men have zero tolerance. Remember, I told you that they told you that God created man in his own image. And the first sin that Adam and Eve committed was why he kicked them out of the garden. And y'all are wondering how if a woman cheats, a man does not forgive. It is not only cheating. It is not only cheating. Everything. So these men would have been asking for divorce if women actually were doing something wrong. For every time that relationships have problems, sit these two people and go to the origin of the problem. A man was wrong. At the origin of the problem, a man was wrong. So I am telling you, and this is the reason why I tell women, do not go to religious people for counseling.
Yes.
Do not go to men for counseling. Even if a man is a professional, right? Do not go to him for counseling, even if he is a professional. Because I am telling you, that male indoctrination still exists within his head. Yes. I was listening to this guy. You know, I advise women before marriage, talk to divorce lawyers before marriage. I was listening to this divorce lawyer, a very popular, what's this guy's name? He's a very big divorce lawyer. He's in America, I think.
I don't know his name, but he's on social, he's everywhere like Rash.
Is a lady.
Okay, yeah. So he said something. I'm laughing at this one that I am missing for me.
Where is it?
I love it when men are frustrated. I absolutely love it. Anyway, the fact that I have power over you now and I can continue to misinform and you can continue to be in the comment section like a fool that you are. So
the comments. Sorry, oh.
So the guy made one analogy, Abby, that he was talking about even that guy being a divorce lawyer, and he has been a divorce lawyer for about 20-something years, right? He still does not understand why, even if I am not working and I marry a man, and in that marriage I'm not working, and it's time for us to get a divorce, he still does not understand why we share properties 50-50. Right? So he's like, he doesn't get the logic. So that means he can also argue that if you have to share the property with her like that, then that means her parents who gave birth to her and trained her through school, they also put effort so you can share those property. And then her grandparents. So at what point will the whole thing end, right? So I'm like, this is somebody who went to school to study law. He became a divorce lawyer, but he still does not know why the law would say you should share property.
He himself is divorced.
He's divorced.
He cannot, that guy, you just know that till he goes to his grave, he cannot actually learn. His brain, he cannot. It's kind of shocking how someone will have those years of education, years of training, decades of professional experience and still cannot understand something that a 19-year-old can understand. It just makes you, it just reinforces that thing that what kind of God would want a woman to submit to a man? Because that guy, he amazes me. The degree of his ignorance. Someone who is a US, a lawyer that practices in the US, you just be like, wow. When will this man learn now? Is it at age 85?
I'm telling you. So he does not even get it that this woman was building a home, right? And she was helping this man in ways that even the man cannot explain, right? And aside from that, that woman could have been out there chasing her own dreams, if not for the fact that she was married to this man. She could have been out there chasing her own things and she would have probably been richer than that. But it was because she is married to you that she did not have access to do all that. But you still don't get why you have to share property. And you guys see how these men get triggered when the conversation of sharing property. And recently I'm seeing them shouting, prenup, prenup. I'm like, oh my goodness. People that have 755 naira in their UBA account is shouting prenup.
Stop it. Prenup does not even work in the UK. UK is going to, they are going to be like, UK is a leveler. So you cannot even use prenup to cheat a woman or anybody. They are going to create it in a way that everybody has access, like equally. You are both married, you are both responsible for your children, so it is equal. So that prenup can only work in places like US and Nigeria, where, you know, 50-50. Just like one guy asked me yesterday that if we don't want to submit, are we ready to do 50-50? And I told him, if you're ready to carry the pregnancy 50-50, then there's no problem.
Taichi said men don't recognize domestic labor as work. They actually recognize it as work. They just don't want to pay you for it.
Yes.
That's it.
In fact, many of them actually marry for the sake of that domestic work. So it's not because they will love you or want you, but because they need someone to wash their clothes, cook free food and free sex, free everything. That's why they're married. It's not
and free advice. Another thing that men don't tell you is free advice. That thing that they say his wife is covering him up in prayer is not the prayer that men know. That is not that prayer. Do you get? Women have a very strong intuition that they come up with ideas for men. If you see a man, did somebody like Kingsley Okonkwo, that man is where he is because of his wife. And you will hear that in their message. That's why I say women bring things beyond mouth being able to explain to you.
It's things money cannot buy.
Yes. The things you cannot even explain. She had made a video where she said,
let me do the maths for you. Kingsley Okonkwo minus Mildred equals to a tout and former cultist. It doesn't equal to pastor. It doesn't equal to a marriage minister or whatever you think you know of him today. Kingsley Okonkwo minus Mildred is just an overweight tout that has experience in cultism. That's it.
with his flannels. So you guys, women bring all these things to men, yet men don't appreciate these things, right? So one thing that I want women to understand is this. As we are talking about feminism, individually, right? I'm talking back to how women can gain power now. Women do well as a community, but the community side of women has been broken.
Yeah.
So now there is work to do on an individual level. But when you meet people who are trying to do the same amount of work with you, build community with them. Build community with those women. But on an individual level, as you're in your own relationship or in your own dealings with men, take back your autonomy on an individual level. Because as a collective, we cannot take back autonomy as women. But on individual level, take back your autonomy. So those of you who practice submission in your house, right, just know that you are in an abusive relationship.
No need to mince word.
Yeah. You are in an abusive relationship. So take back your autonomy. And if you are with a man that would not let go of your autonomy and he believes that the marriage should not work unless you are giving him autonomy, unless you are submitting your autonomy as a human being, then like I said, you are in an abusive relationship. Right? Thank you. Pesta said, she said she did it and she's married. Yeah. Yeah. So that's just what I would say. As you're building your community, take your autonomy in your individual relationships. And when you meet women, you make community with them. Let's bring back female communities and healthy female communities.
Yes, talking about women community, there's this mindset that I'm hoping we can deconstruct. The mindset of women not wanting to have friends, female friends.
That's embarrassing.
The mindset is they have betrayed me too much, but men have hurt you. Men have cheated on you, but you are still running after men.
Men have damaged you.
You give men so much grace, but you barely have any for a fellow woman. A man will cheat on you, abuse you, make fun of you with his fellow men, and you will still say, I want to fall in love. But when a woman does once, you cancel them. It's a service to yourself because, again, let's even put abuse aside. There are some things a man can never understand when it comes to woman. And it's only a fellow woman that will understand you. But you have been deceived to think that women are women's enemy. You have been told that women cannot support women, that they are jealous of each other. And it's a lie. Coming to the community, I belong to series of different communities. Some are for self-development, in fact, for different purposes. But one thing I love about this community is that, in fact, there's one that I'm the admin. There was a guy in one church like that. This guy was a narcissist personified. He wasn't married as at that time. He was leading on so many ladies in the church. And one lady I first got to know about it in, I think, 2020-ish, when it happened to someone close to me, the same guy. And I was one that I forcefully ended a relationship. A year or two down the line, another lady came to report to me, and as at that time, he was courting a lady to get married to her. Meanwhile, he was leading at least 3 other ladies on. And the pastor of his church is aware, but I don't know, he's acting like he's helpless. So when they brought that case to me, I took it to my tribe. Every woman, we got up and people started finding evidence. That was how we got evidence against that guy, and they were forced to discipline the guy in their church. Now, if we didn't have that community, there was no way I would have made a way. I called this guy out publicly. I didn't hide it. I had to put it on Facebook. People were saying that, oh, why am I didn't care, because I'm like, he has done too much. Over the years, nothing has been done. If his church will not do anything, I will at least red list him online so that ladies will know. This is the advantage of having a woman community where you are able to keep each other safe. You are able to protect each other. You see, the world out there is really, really like, they understand the dynamics of women. They understand the power of community of women. They understand that your coming together is a force they cannot break. That is why they create an illusion in your head that women hate women. Women gossip. See, gossip. As far as your gossip is not destroying anybody, gossip your gossip. But like the end goal is not about your gossip. It is to destroy your community. Mindset. They don't want you to have a community together to be able to support each other and be able to help each other. That is what they're after. And the minute you keep believing this lie, the more difficult it is for you to see a fellow woman struggling and want to help. You are beginning to see them as, in fact, a man will cheat on his wife, and instead of facing the husband, he's facing the woman. And you are wondering, who broke the vow? Is it the woman outside or the man you are married to? That is the, see, it's all a form of way to just.
Well, somebody in the comments saying feminism has become militant and radical. I am a radical feminist. Let me tell you one thing that I even believe. The world needs radical feminism. Very radical feminism. Right?
And if you're a Christian woman who does not want to be radical, which kind of Christianity are you practicing? Who are you following? Because it cannot be
Jesus was radical. Jesus that was beating people in the temple.
Cannot be unless your pastor is your savior and Lord that you are following, then you can not be radical. But if you claim to follow Jesus and you are not radical,
Jesus broke cultures. He was beating people.
Use that one
he was cursing their pastors in those days. The Sadducees and Pharisees, woe betide you. How many of you can say woe betide your pastor?
I want Timmy to address something, because this is another thing I find with especially Christian women that are not all Christian women, but at least Christian women that want to be progressive and all these things. And they say things like, yeah, I understand all of this, but let's just talk about these issues that women face, and let's not come on too strong like this, and not turn it into a gender war.
That's the problem.
We are, how can we make this woman understand that you are not about to start a war? You are already at war. You are already under attack.
There's no war.
If the war is launched against you, you're just the one that there is no war.
You are the one not fighting.
There is a femicide.
There is a
when
war
you say it's a war, now me and you they fight now. Women are not even fighting back.
Or you
do you know women are not even fighting back. Even feminism that they are talking about, feminists are not trying to fight anybody.
They are not really. They are just.
They are not fighting anybody.
Fairness, looking for. They just want, like, nobody is superior to the other. They are not really
exactly.
fighting. But the problem is anything that, like,
ask a man, right?
It triggers
ask a man why he does not like feminism, and then hear him speak, right? That he will tell you that women said that a pastor went on his altar to say, when they talk about going to war, feminists will disappear. All of a sudden, they don't want equality. These men are fighting to stand on top of you. They want to rule you. Do you get? And you as a woman is saying, all this on a feminist thing, you open your 32 teeth that it's almost getting to 37. All these feminist women, me, I'm not a feminist though, but because women are still trying to beg for mercy from men. And they believe within Christian communities, right? Even, I'm telling you, this thing is not even just Christian communities. When you go to school and you're, let's say you're studying gender studies now, gender studies itself is trying to remove itself from feminism. They are saying they are different from feminists. Do you understand? They are telling you that, oh no, they are trying to dissect gender and intersectionality. Who taught gender studies in intersectionalism? Is it not feminism? Right? Any space that accommodates
when men hijack
something
that women come up with.
Exactly. When men come, and that is why I still complain about the issue of male feminists. They find a way to be centered in every movement, right? So somebody will come and tell you that he is a man, he's studying gender studies. Do you get? And they will come and tell you, hi, women are suffering. What people are aiming at, what Christianity is aiming at right now because of modernization, what society is trying to push themselves at, right? They are trying to bring women to a place where it's like, oh no, let's talk to men so that men will start treating women better. I'm telling you, if men were actually treating women a little bit better, right? If you come out to say you are a feminist, even women go beat you. because they are not even seeking, a lot of women are not seeking equality. When you hear men who are male feminists saying they are talking about feminism, they are not seeking equality. They want your slave masters to treat you better. They are begging for mercy.
Yeah, like
That's why they will
let's
come to
not
church.
buy these women anymore. Let's the suffering is too much. Let's reduce the suffering
Yes,
for these
they will
women.
come to church and tell you that women, you will submit. If you want your husbands to love you, you must submit. You don't know, you are dancing on your wedding day. You don't know the work that is in front of you. Submission is a must. If you don't want to be submissive, don't marry. Then they will turn, and you
This
men, you
one,
have to love your wife. Oh, you have to. You have to love your wife, oh, as Christ loved the church. You know, they are pleading with men's conscience to treat you better. And you're like, yeah, that's okay for me. Or you come and say something like, Pastor really fired men today. And what is the firing that he fired men? That he said, love your wife, don't beat her,
things
deal
that
with
should
her
not be
with
taught.
understanding.
Things that should not be taught.
Exactly. They
How
are
many women
teaching
are
men
taught to love husband,
basics
love
of
man?
humanity, and they tell you that that is them firing. You say, oh, Femi Lazarus is firing men. This
And
person,
that is after they are fired
Mildred is
women
firing men.
99% of the time. Oh. They are fired women 99%. They
How
will
They
not
is
come
it
tell
with
you
one
that
even how
percent.
women
is it
are here.
even firing? How is it even firing a man to tell him that the person, the woman he married, he should try and not damage her? How is
And they
that
will tell you
even
I
that
firing?
understand.
sometimes they will say, men, not every time. Sometimes you to go and help her in the kitchen. So which means it is your
Help,
responsibility. You should go and help you.
help.
So that
Help her to raise,
women,
babysit your own child. Babysit your own child.
I'm even too angry to speak, please. You don't touch me where they pain me. Make
Sorry, I didn't do it intentionally. It's annoying when I see, and you know the saddest part of this is, so women are they glory in, my husband helped me to cook today, my husband helped me to babysit the children, my husband. I'm like, are you not living together in the same house? Are the children not his own, that is not helping you to take care of his own children? He's helping you clean the house, is cleaning. I mean, before he got married to you, who was doing it? If it was a maid, then why is the maid not continuing? Why do you have to? Let me relax. But the thing is, until we are ready to understand that at the foundation of all of this, the average man is not marrying for love. They are marrying for domestic help. That's why a man will say he wants to test his woman by inviting him to his parents' house or his own house, then leave his house all messed up and expect the girl, because she's a wife material, to come and be cleaning up for him. These are the ways, subtle ways they come, and that word test is even more annoying, because why are you testing an adult? Who are you to test the person? You, have you finished testing yourself, that you think it is in your place to test somebody else? And then some people will even be, some lady will not even be so proud to say, I think we've talked about that one. Don't even let me go back to it.
They be saying that a man not knowing basic skill like cooking, cleaning is a red flag. See, it's not that they don't know these things. Do you get, like, there are men who don't know how to cook, right?
And there are
But
women actually who don't
men
too.
not knowing how to cook is not the problem. Like, I want women to understand the way I see all these women online that they're like, oh, me, I'm teaching my son how to cook and clean, no, so that he will not. Men not knowing how, you can teach all the boys on earth today how to cook and clean and do all these things. These problems will still not end, because the problem is not a man not knowing how to cook and clean. The problem is that even if he knows how to cook
He
and
doesn't
clean,
want to do it.
he feels he only has to do that if he doesn't have a woman. The moment he has a woman, he shouldn't be cooking and cleaning. Do you get? That is the fundamental problem.
Yeah.
A lot of abusive husbands cook better than their wife self.
Yes, and clean better.
They
My
clean
ex
better
can
than their
clean for
house,
Africa.
their wife. Look at the top chefs in the world.
Mm-hmm.
They
They're
are
men.
male.
Yes.
They are the ones that make big name in that profession of chef. They are men. So stop thinking that men knowing how to do this thing is going to end any. It's not going to end anything, because even if he goes out and earns an income being a chef, when he comes back to his home, it is still your job
To do
to
it
do it.
because he's the head of the home, and the head of the home cannot be caught in the kitchen.
He married you so that he doesn't have to come home to cook.
And so that he can always meet his house clean. As he's coming, he must not step on sand.
Yeah.
It must be sparkly clean. That's it. And it is your duty as the wife that he married and paid your bride price. He paid on top of your head. He bought you. The confidence with which they even say that thing, I paid bride price. If you think it's billions of money that they paid, last
And
of
why is
1,000
it
naira.
that why my major concern is this: if you're a woman and you don't know what you represent in the life of a man, men have been shouting that women are bad, women are this, women of this generation this, right? When women are shouting that men of this generation, men are this, women are coming out to say we don't want to marry men again. But if you make a video to say, oh no, you are not, even a woman who will make a video and say she does not want to get married, why are men attacking her if they're like women of this generation are bad? Somebody even said, one stupid guy, that women don't deserve, women of this generation don't deserve a high value man. And I'm like, fine, women don't even want to be married, but you guys are making a fuss to a point where Japan is trying to force women into marriage at early age. Iraq is forcing women to get married at 9. Afghanistan is forcing women into marriage and keeping quiet. Women are saying we don't want to deal with you because you're bad. You're saying women are bad, change the woman, go to another woman. If women are so bad, why are you trying to still marry? Right? You are the one that said women are bad. Women say men are
You are
bad,
still
they
going
don't
for
want to
them.
marry. You said women are bad, but you want to still marry. You even want to have more than one. You want to have more than one wife. And a man,
When they say, oh, this feminism, this new wave of feminism is not real feminism, it is just women who hate men. Sometimes we would even have women come into our lives and say, oh, so this place is a man hating space, Abby. What these men are referring to you hating them is because you do not want to cook for them 24/7. To them, that is hatred.
And you don't want to clean the house. You don't want to
You
actually
don't want
you
to
don't want
clean the
to be
house.
quiet for them.
Yeah, that's to them, that is hatred.
Yeah.
You don't want them to go out and be sleeping around when they've married you.
You don't want
To
you to
them, that is
they don't
hatred.
want, like, you
Like,
cannot hold them accountable.
why do you hate me so much? Why is it that you are tying me down? You can't let me sleep with 5 other women after I've married you.
Married,
What
after all,
kind
you are
of
in the
hatred is
house.
this? And you call yourself a Christian. Why do you hate me so much? To them, that is what the hatred is.
And you're
and
selfish for
that
saying you
also
don't want a
means you're
child.
controlling them.
Yes, and you're a wicked woman for not wanting to have a child. They don't care, even if it will cost your life.
I
But
was
women need
called
to
being
build community and understand
manipulative.
autonomy.
um it's funny that the day that this guy said, oh, don't think I don't know what you are doing. No, I know exactly what you are doing. I'm just keeping quiet and not saying anything, but don't think I don't know what you are doing. You are you are manipulating me, and you are acting like you are the husband in this house, and you want to turn me to your wife. And I said, what does that even mean? And I was so deeply disturbed. Do you get? Because to me, manipulation is essentially witchcraft. If you tell me I'm manipulative, you might as well just call me a witch, right? Back
Yeah.
in the day when I didn't want to be called a witch. So I went to the room and just started crying. And then I texted a friend and I said, look at what my husband just told me. And the first thing this person said to me was, hey, what are you doing that
Thank you,
is
Abby.
making me, what are you doing? Thank you for the gifts. What are you doing that is making him feel this way? And I said, what am I doing like how? What am I not doing? I'm doing everything in this house while this guy sits back. Like, he doesn't even do as much as my little kids do in the house. He just sits back and expects me to thank him for flushing the toilet after he shits. But he's saying I am manipulating him and I am turning him into husband because I dare say that you should please put your the plate you used to eat in the dishwasher. So just like, it is real, just be this, just be that. Do you get? So I mean, this was before I understood, the fact that they project what they are doing to you, and when they are accusing you of something, they are actually confessing to you what they are doing to you. This was before I had that understanding. So when because women, we because of our nature, right, and our innate kindness, when these people say, oh, you are hating men, some women, they don't pick up on the manipulation there.
Yeah.
They feel like, oh my God, so they don't want to be in spaces where they feel like, oh, this is a man-hating space. They don't want to be a part of that, but they don't understand that what these people are calling hatred is that you are not letting them oppress you. It's like when you pay money to buy your hen or chicken at the market, and then you bring it home, and then you clip the wings together, you hold the chicken's neck, you sharpen the knife, you are about to slaughter it, and the chicken is like, no. And you're like, you chicken, you ate me. Why do you hate me so much? That's exactly what is playing out. So the chicken is now going to tell other chickens that let's not hate men. God does not want us to hate men. This is not. You see the ridiculousness of it. And some chickens are like, no, we will not allow ourselves to be slaughtered. Like, no, this is not of God. Let's not hate men. This is hatred of men. Repent of your sins. This is not of God. How does that make any sense?
No one is trying to live, survive.
If you have to
not even thrive yet, to survive.
Yeah. The only way.
And when women hear these things, right? When they hear these things and you are saying men, it jumps their head. When we talk about men, that includes your pastor and your brother and your father. I'm just trying to let you understand, especially your pastor. Women can even accept that their brothers are misogynistic and their father too, because they see what happened to their mother and their brother's wives. Your pastor, right? Your pastor, that your own pastor that you feel like he's special, or he speaks Gen Z, or he speaks about trauma, that guy is also misogynistic. Because it is a pastor who came online to say there are no more virtuous women in this generation. There are no more, that the number of marriable women is rapidly decreasing.
Even that virtuous woman, no, if we want to really dissect that virtuous woman, no
that was an
woman can marry
woman.
them. No.
A virtuous woman is an abused woman.
You cannot even, no, the real virtuous woman that I understood, well, recently, not of the ones I've known, the real virtuous woman is a woman that is a warrior, that takes no nonsense, that makes a decision without even asking, dear husband, can I do this? It's a woman that will see properties and go for it. It's a woman that her self-autonomy, like everything about her self-governance, everything is intact. She's not waiting to be told what to do, taking permission to wee-wee.
This virtuous woman that you're talking about, Ruth, this virtuous woman, is it not, I shall know this one you're describing is not the biblical one, Sha.
It is.
Let's go into the Bible, right?
It is.
Let's go
We
to,
can't do it today. We'll do it another day.
oh my, you guys
That
will
one,
discuss the
Ruth,
virtuous
that one
woman.
that Ruth described is not in the Bible. Oh. That
That
one
is
is
not
not
the
there.
biblical
I read
virtuous
it in
woman.
the Bible. Okay, let me give you a tip. Read it. When you are reading it, read it in. First, read
I
it.
mean, not that she's not in the
Read the
Bible, but she's
footnotes.
not called virtuous. That maybe that's
She's
how we
not
should
a
put it.
no-nonsense woman. This Proverbs 31 woman is a woman who was abused. That was an abused woman.
Well, I used to think that way. That I even say I remember even making a video that I don't want to be a virtuous woman. But this week, when I just woke up and I was reading it, and I realized that even that book on its own is actually not in the context of marriage. But again, on the pulpit, they've made it to be like it is in the context of marriage. The context is not in the context of marriage at all. Yes, you may be able to apply some things to marriage, but it is not originally in the context of marriage. But then it is what it is. So are the people that started preaching to us. People who love patriarchy, who are misogynistic. So that's what they are going to preach to
Maybe
you.
another day we'll have a conversation
Yeah, don't
about
worry,
that
we'll do it
virtuous
because
woman.
I'm also
Anyway.
looking at time. Remember, I said I have an exam, so I'm also
Yeah,
looking
I also have something by
so that
5
I
as
can go
well.
and read ahead of it. Anyways, it's a very one thing is this discussion is not even a discussion we can even finish at once, and also I think I want to believe that we have set a fire kind of that women please understand that you are your best friends. Stop making your husband my best friend, my all in all, my whatever you. And I'm not saying hate your husband. I am saying don't because of marriage throw away your community of friends. Don't because of marriage now start saying he's my best friend. Who are the people in your life before a man came? That's one mistake a lot of you make. Because you are now married, you throw your single friends away because we are not on the same level. There's even a lady that said something like, I'm not a missus, we don't think alike. And my husband said I should not talk to them again. And she foolishly stopped talking to her friends. And these are ways that a lot of women just like you by yourself, you throw yourself under the bus because by the time you have cut off your support system, the women who are meant to come and stand up for you, by the time you have cut them off, when they start showing you the real thing, who are you going to run to? Is it the woman you have said that after your marriage that hate your husband or they don't like you, or the family that they have even told you to stop relating with because they are going to scatter your marriage? Is that the people you want to run to? So that idea of because you are now married, don't talk to any friends of yours, or you are in a different level now, you have to. It's all it's bullshit. Let me call it what it is. It's all nonsense. So don't throw away your autonomy because you are married, and stop letting them use Bible to manipulate you. You can see God is not afraid of your questions. I remembered when I was being abused. I told God, I said, God, I think you are misogynistic and you are patriarchal. I was not afraid. Yeah, I don't know the kind of relationship people have, but I have a relationship with God that I can express my emotion. He gave me the emotion. If he doesn't like it, then sorry, you gave it to me. I will use it.
But how can you not be afraid of someone that can throw you in an everlasting fire? Let's be honest.
Wait,
How
oh.
can we
I
not be
think
afraid of
I
that
think
person?
the foundation is a kind of there's something about the African God. The African God, in Africa, people are subdued, abused, children, the vulnerable are easily shut down, and because of that, then also the wicked daddy at home, where you are getting home, you are walking on eggshells already. There's a tendency for you to begin to perceive God in that lens. Maybe because I did experience that kind of, thing where you are afraid of your father. I could not relate. The way you are treated is how you would perceive the power or the God that you are serving. There's a tendency for you to view that God from the lens of how you have been treated in by either a father figure in your life or the people that either a father figure in your life or the people that are meant to be your parents. Somehow it will translate to how you will see God, and because of that, you will not see the father side of God. You will see an headmaster carrying cane waiting for you at the gate even when you are not late to beat you. That's what you will see. You are going to be seeing a God who is looking for your sin. You are going to see a God who is looking for every opportunity to beat you. You are going to see a God who is looking for, like, he's literally praying that you sin so that he can deal with you. That's the kind of God that is being preached, that they have expressed to the average African Christian. They tell you that God, yes, God hates sin, but he does not hate you. They make, in fact, they even say God hates divorce. They didn't stop there. They now say God hates, more like God hates you that he said he loves, and he even sent his son to come and die for. They project that God as a narcissist, as a sadist, who derives joy in your pain, who is like, he just can't stand you crying. Meanwhile, even the same God said is your
But,
tears is taking
but I feel
account of
like
it.
as long as it's still this God that they wrote about, right? If they say this God created man in his own image, this is the characteristics of man, right? Like these attributes are the attributes of man. Do you get? So it is not out of place that God actually has those kind of behavior. Because I feel like a loving God that says you are God and you're loving, just like if I see my father as an abusive person and my father is not abusive, it's in my father's place to draw me close and be like, oh, I'm not an abusive person. So my
Yes,
father should not wait for me to
absolutely.
find to see a version of him that is
That's
not
it.
abusive. It is in
Yes.
his place to prove to me that he's not abusive.
That's how, well, that's my experience. That about then, it's also another thing that even when your father wants to talk to you and you already have a strong perception about him, except you have an open heart to really see him for who he is, you may not even see him when he's also rolling on the floor for you. That's another thing. If you already have a tainted perception and you have made up your mind, no open-mindedness, not, and when I say open-mindedness, I'm not even saying open-minded to just take everything hook, line, and sinker. I'm saying open-mindedness to hear and then verify before you now believe anything you choose to believe. That's the kind of thing I believe people can do if you really want to know that God, not the God they are preaching everywhere.
Should I
That
tell you the barrier to people knowing God this way you are describing?
say it.
The barrier to people being open to knowing God in that manner is when they know that He does not accept them the way they are. When you know that you have to be a certain way to God for Him to accept you and not let you go into an everlasting fire, that puts a barrier to knowing Him. Everlasting fire is a see you this thing that Timmy said she watched about that lady, story of that lady that got burnt and stuff, and she said she's crying. That was someone that was burned for a few hours and her suffering ended. And Timmy is traumatized by that. Now think of everlasting fire that no matter, it's just going to go on forever and ever. You are not go it's not going to buy you, it's not going to unalive you, it's just going to keep burning, unending burning. If you see God as someone that can put you through that because you rejected him, that fear will always lead. You wouldn't be able to fully open up yourself to him. That fear will always lead. It's like when you
And it
know
makes it
that,
difficult for you to also reconcile that that is a loving God, right?
yeah.
Especially considering the person the person is said to be the one who created you, of course, not women, because they clearly said he created man, not women anyway.
So if even as human parents, when we tell our kids that you can come to me about anything, you can, if you are going through and you can come to me, you can tell, no matter what mistake you make, please always come home, always this and that. I love you. This. But the child knows that if I tell mommy or daddy or whoever that I am gay, she's going to disown me. Right, I'm using that as an example because that's like a touchy thing in Christianity. She's going to, yeah, she loves me. If I fail out of school, she will love me. If I join band gang or whatever, she will still love me. But this is our breaking point. if I say that I am gay, she would disown me and say, "Oh, I don't even have a son, or I don't even have a daughter anymore. My child has spied." Her, it doesn't matter how much you say, always come to me. Always, even if I don't like what you are doing, I will still love you as my child. You can say that till you are blue in the face. That child will never be able to fully open up to you, because he or she knows that there is only one version um of him that you can fully embrace, and they will lose the privilege of being loved or wanted by you if they are not that way. That would always be a barrier. Before I could mend my relationship with my kids, when I left my abusive marriage, I had to tell them that no matter what they do, I will never ever spank you again. Let me tell you, they didn't believe me. And it's only one that I used to spank. The other one was so scared of spanking that she was just 150% compliant. But the second one, that one said, once you start saying, "Why did you do this?" you just be like, "I beg, please spank me and let's move on."
Wow.
Like, so I had to tell them that no matter what it is, no matter what you do, it will make me angry, it will piss me off, it will make me sad, but I will never, ever, ever spank you. It took them a year for them to fully believe that thing. In fact, that one that has coconut head, that was when she now started doing things just to get me to spank her. And my head will just do guinea. I will remember that I made them this promise. And I wouldn't. Now I can't. It took me a while too, right? But now they can't even conceive. They can't. Sometimes when that one does something now, and I'll be like, "Who ate the last slice of pizza I left here?" I'll be like, I don't know. Like, she would lie. She'd be like, I don't know. Me, I already know she's the one that did it. I'll just be like, oh, that's kind of funny, because I know I left that slice of pizza here. Anyway, I'll just go on. I'm telling you, roots in about an hour. Me, I'll just go about my business, so and be playing with them and stuff. This girl will just sit down there and be crying like somebody that Holy Spirit came upon. And honestly, I would have forgotten. I'll be like, "Are you okay? What's the matter? Is your head aching you?" You know, I was the one that I'll just hug her and be like, "But why didn't you tell me? Why didn't, like, I wasn't gonna, I mean, I'll just tell you that you should have asked me first. That's it." So if she thought that I was going to punish her or something for that thing that she did, right? She would not come out with the truth, because there's no safety. Me, I grew up in a weary house. Do you get, unlike you, where you quickly learn that being upfront with your parents will make you be punished more. So if you lie that, oh, I don't know who did this, they will just give all of you standard beating. But if you come out and say, "I'm sorry, I'm the one who did it," your own has finished.
Wow.
So not a child has to feel safe for them to be able to come close to you. And Christians do not feel that safe with God. They know that their love is like, they can say, "Oh, God loves you unconditionally," but in their subconscious they know that that's not true. He doesn't love me unconditionally. He loves me based on these conditions. And some people will say, no, God's love is unconditional, but he gives you free will and he doesn't force you. So if you don't want him, he will not force you. So he's not sending you to hell. Is you that you are sending yourself to hell. He doesn't want you to go to hell. He only made hell for devil and Satan, but you have the right to reject him, and then that's when you go. It doesn't work. That logic doesn't work. it doesn't work. If I cannot, you cannot say that I have free will, and then when I use that free will, I burn forever. That's not that will that I cannot say, oh yeah, this fire is burning me. Okay, I want to use my free will now to now accept Jesus. Oh no, you can't. That's not free will. That is that same dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
That men hold over women's head in marriage. It is not free. It is not anything. Yeah. So that is the as someone that has lived in fear of hellfire from a very young age, I understand why women are stuck on that. There are women that are ready to leave their abusive marriage today.
But because of hellfire.
If they have the assurance that God can still be happy with them when they leave. They don't even care about what people will say. They don't care. The only thing they care about is what God will say.
God will say.
And they are not very clear on that. And they read the Bible. The only thing they see is adultery, and they are like, but this man has not cheated on me, he's just abusing me, so God will not want me to see. I have heard women tell me, I know what I'm going through is emotional abuse, but God has not released me. That is a spirit, that is a kind of stronghold that these are not people that don't know what gaslighting. They already know that it is abuse, even though they are not being physically beaten. And it takes a long time for a woman that is not being physically hit to know that she's been abused.
Yes.
They have gotten to the level where they now know that it is abuse, but they'll be like, God has not released me. And it's hard to explain to them that God wants them to be well. Because it's the same God that will still throw some of his own children or his own creation in an everlasting fire. That's why women who do not deconstruct religion, they will leave that abusive marriage, they will still marry another abuser.
Yeah.
Because they've convinced themselves that, oh, it's just that one that I married that is evil. But they are still taking all these damaging Christian doctrines into their next relationship with a man. Okay, let me stop there because I can go on for an hour.
I'm actually enjoying it and I'm taking it in. And yes, that's a lot. And I really, really do agree with you. In fact, it's even making me think of, okay, I think there's more to really, really go and really research about. And
let me just add to what Ola said.
Okay.
Especially when she said you will leave that relationship and still marry an abuser, right? It brings me to women need to separate the idea of a good man versus a bad man, right? See, if you still don't have that autonomy, right, you will marry my husband and be abused.
Yeah.
See me,
This one is just for
say
women
it
who
for
follow
those
me.
at the back. Repeat it for those at the back. Some people did not hear what you said about marrying your husband now. Because there are women praying, fasting, and on their knees right now that God should give them a husband like Timmy's husband. Some people
If you don't understand the concept of autonomy, you will marry my own husband and be abused. Because at the end of the day, the man has the equipment, he has everything that is needed for abuse. Anything, when the Bible says all things that are needed for life and godliness, right? Everything that is needed for abuse to take place
The man has
exists within the reach of a man. A man has access to it. It's like you say you marry a soldier, but you're certain that he does not have a gun. It is not possible. As long as he's a soldier, he has a gun, he knows how to use it, and the gun is loaded. Do you understand?
Yeah.
The only difference, just know that it is. Anyway, just know that you're married. If
Oh my goodness. Oh God, we've said so much today. My time is fast spent. I want to go and prepare for my exam. before I start going to fail. Don't let me fail. But then to just round off all of these things, at the bottom of it all, it is not about looking for a good man. It's about knowing who you are, the power that you carry, and not throwing away. Another the one mistake women make is they throw that autonomy away. Like it's like when they are saying I do to them, it is they are throwing away themselves, their authority, their autonomy, their rights, their individuality. I've seen women that were really vocal about a lot of things. And as soon as they get married, the things they were standing against, they start supporting it, like a twist in their language. And you begin to wonder what's happened, what's changed. And it's like an automatic thing, like a switch. Once a man is present, there's this subconscious belief that a woman lost her independency. They lost their right to have a say in any situation. They need permission, and it has been so normalized that if you are not self-aware, you won't even realize it. And it's even so, in fact, it is actually normal now in the society. So in to round up, let's just quickly touch on how women can understand that even in that marriage, they are still an individual by themselves. They should not, because of marriage, throw away their individuality and forget that before marriage, in fact, even if there's no marriage, they are still themselves and they are okay by themselves. And like, marriage is just one of those things. And again, you cannot even determine when you will be married, because you have to get someone who is in tandem with you, who has the same, not maybe not 100%, but has similar values with you. There are so many values that it's not even just about moral values. There are so many values that you have to check that it's aligning with yours. So if you are now going to be saying that without marriage you are nothing, then it's as good as saying you are dead. So I want a situation where women understand that marriage is not a do or die affair. If it comes, well and good. If it doesn't, fine. And when it does come, you are not throwing yourself away because of marriage. You are not forgetting your individuality because of marriage. You are not sacrificing everything that makes you you just because you want a marriage to thrive. A lot of women have thrown away their vision. You will see a person that was a career woman, became married and became full housewife. And it's not like, oh, I'm only a full housewife for a while. It is like that's their last bus stop. No changing, no, like it's like a default setting. They just enter that default setting as soon as they say I do. And I even noticed it even very recent with two ladies like that got married. I'm not close to them, so I cannot even say I want to caution them. But I'm seeing them drift away from their individuality. Let's quickly touch up on this one before we call it a day. Okay, over to you.
Okay. Somebody said men were abused as slaves and they want to take it out on women. Women were abused before, long before slavery. Slavery took pattern from the abuse of women, actually. So, all right. So, talking about is like you're saying, how do women exercise autonomy in marriage, right?
Yes.
So, let me share a little bit of my experience. I don't like talking about my personal experience because one thing I don't want is my experience does not make up any doctrine for anybody, does not make a standard. But let me share a little bit of my experience and what I did in my own relationship, right? Before I married him, the moment he even asked me out, I told him that, okay, I've been struggling with something. Because at the time, I was still Christian. I don't even know where I am right now, honestly. At this point, I think I'm a little bit agnostic, but then I'm still finding what I'm finding. But anyway, he was actively Christian. I was actively Christian. So I told him that there's a portion of the Bible that I was struggling with, and it is this issue of submission. So it's not something I've been praying, I've been studying, I've been doing a lot of research, right? So I don't agree with the submission thing. At the time, I didn't even have a lot of information about it. I just knew there was something about it that does not sit right with me. So he was like, okay, that yeah, honestly, him too, the thing troubles him, but you know, it's just something that sometimes Christians just walk on a particular path in hopes that they don't anger God. As long as it does not take anything from them, let them just agree with us so that they don't go to hell. Do you get?
Yes.
So he was like, okay, him too is not like, besides, he doesn't really care about somebody being submissive to him. It's something he doesn't care about. Close to when we were going to get married, he was like, I also called him to tell him at this point I'm a little bit, I have more clarity than when we first started. I am never going to be submissive. And he was like, it's okay. I'm like, I have clarity to the submission issue now. And he was like, it's okay, right? Then I started understanding autonomy at the same at that time also, because I was coming out from realizing that within my family as well, there are certain things that I thought I made decisions for myself, but I did not, right? So I was learning how to take my own autonomy from my family. Do you understand? That was when we got married. So a man can tell you that it is okay to not, it is okay, he doesn't mind you not being submissive, right? But when you marry that man, and that was something I was saying when I was talking about feminist men, the true test of a man's character is when he's married. Because that is when it will be done on him that this thing that you're saying is real. Do you get? Because at the time you didn't mind. But when we got married, there are certain things that genuinely, those things troubled him. My family, my husband comes from a tribe where they are a very close-knitted tribe. So they have communal living. Do you understand? And family matters to them. A lot of them don't even move out from family house. Do you get? Some of them marry and remain within family.
Wow.
So when we got married, there are certain things that their family would practice, or their whole community, and every other wife that they marry would just do it without problems. And it got to my head, it was like, okay, no, there's this thing. And my mother-in-law was like, there's this thing that. So I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to do it. Do you understand? Now, that would not harm anybody. I was not comfortable with it. It will not harm anybody. It will not harm him. But for somebody who comes from a very close-knitted family like that, you know, to an extent, you will feel a little bit embarrassed that you got to your own turn. And so he came and he was like, okay, is it something like, can you let's just do it and get over? I'm like, they are not requiring you to do anything. If you want to do it, that's fine. You can go ahead, but I'm not doing it. And I'm the one they are asking to do this thing. Do you understand? That thing troubled him. Do you get? It was going to hurt me. If I had done that thing, I would have felt hurt that I did it. Do you understand? But it wasn't a big deal. I don't know how to explain the thing, and I did not do it. Do you get? And then we'll have some things that he will just be like, okay, this is it. Let's go to church. And I'll be like, my husband is not my tribe. I'm not talking about my tribe, Nene. I'm from Plateau, I'm Tarok. So he can just be like, let's go to church. And if you know, like I said, my husband is a pastor, and I'll be like, no. Something they preached last Sunday, I'm yet to get over it, so I cannot go. The people within the church, he didn't understand why it was a big deal for me. But it was a big deal for me, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Now, I am not disrespecting him by not doing it. Ordinarily, when women hear these things, they think it's disrespectful. That your husband said you should do something, right? If I had done that thing by any form of coercion, do you get? That would have been abusive towards me. So at first, the first day of me saying no, like the thing hurt him in a way that he was just thinking, okay, I'm just bluffing. The day came by for me to do, and he realized I'm getting serious. Of course, he will feel hurt because that's just introduction to experiencing a woman with autonomy, right? So he was quiet and reserved for a while. Do you get? And then he came to me again. Then I explained to him why if you coerce me into doing this thing, that would be abusive. So I would not do it. Do you get? And then my husband also understands that I don't have a problem with getting a divorce. Do you get? So if you want to force me by any form of coercion, I'm leaving. Do you understand? And it's not because I'm angry with you. I will just not keep myself in that situation. Do you get?
Yes.
So the whole thing went away. Another issue will come up, right? And then the person will just be like, this is what, and then I'll be like, okay, no. If it is something, and then he realized he may want to do something, and he will just tell me, okay, are you okay with it? And I'm like, as long as it is you that want to do it, it's okay, you can do it. Do you understand? Just like you won't force me to, I won't also force you. I can have event in my family and I'll come and be like, okay, there's this event going on, right? Would you like to go? If you don't want to go, that's still okay.
Yeah.
Something will happen in his own family and he'll be like, let's go. And I'll be like, okay, no, I don't want to go. But do you understand? But gradually, he now realized that people were not even talking about him the way he thought, the way he believed that thing was an embarrassment. No, it wasn't. Do you get? And then I created that boundary even with family, and also they understand that if it's not something that they cannot pass a message to him to pass it to me as if I must do it because my husband said I must, then I must. Do you get?
Yes.
So now if they even want to invite me for something, they'll come and be like, oh, are you coming? They know not to tell him to tell me to come. And then they have their own cultures. I have my own. And then we don't have to fight over it. He does not have to keep malice with me because if you keep malice with me, honestly, I don't mind, right? So you can keep malice if you get a point where. So autonomy is simple. Do you get? But you have to understand that it will make people uncomfortable.
Yes.
And sometimes it's the people that you love that will be uncomfortable. But you have to love yourself beyond wanting them to be comfortable.
Yes. And they will adjust.
I'm telling you, I don't have an issue with my in-laws, mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is alive. Do you get? We don't have problems. We don't have any problems. When people are doing how their mother-in-law called their husband and their body is shaking, or it doesn't happen to me. Do you understand? Because it's simple. I can say no to her, like I can say no to her son. Do you get?
Yes.
These are people you met along your life. Marriage should not change your life.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? Marriage should not change your life. And there are several other examples of, I'm telling you, it goes down to even having children. Yes. Just because you got married does not mean you must have children. And it doesn't mean you must have children now. If you're not ready, you're not ready.
Exactly.
It is not your husband that should decide when you have children or when he shouldn't.
I love this conversation, and the truth is, I wish I don't have an appointment, honestly, and I wish you don't also have. It's actually especially this autonomy part, because, and I love the fact that you even highlighted an example. You made it really, really practical, where people need to understand that you should not be sacrificing your self-love on the altar of making someone else feel comfortable. One thing I know is...
Sorry, I love this thing that Ola just even said. I forgot to mention that. At any point that you want to take decision, but you're scared of how your husband will react, it is because you are in an abusive situation.
Yes. 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 You should not be scared to express yourself with the person you claim to love. And the minute you're beginning to be afraid, there's abuse. If you begin to be rehearsing what to say, how to say it, you're already being abused. And it starts...
Yes, having children is not a collective thing. Oh. The decision to have children, a man's body does not carry children.
It's the woman.
So you guys can decide that, okay, when we get married, you have the right to change your mind. And that's why you don't have to demonize divorce, right? Because maybe you guys planned before marriage and like
men have lost their lives in childbirth.
Exactly. If you plan that we are going to have 4 children and you enter the marriage and you don't feel like having children anymore, it's simple. I don't think I want children anymore. And if he feels like he's desperate to have children, he has autonomy. That's why he can leave the marriage. He has the option to walk out of the marriage as well. Life is very simple. He has the right to decide to also not remain with you. So that is why, as a woman, you cannot demonize divorce. You cannot.
Yes.
Ted Baker 004. Your husband doesn't need to hear what we are saying here. It
You
is
are
you
the one
that
that
you
needs
need
to
it.
listen.
Your
Even
husband
if your
doesn't.
husband hears everything that we are saying here, it will just trigger him. He will not listen to
And they
us.
will come and react on you. In
I
fact,
don't
they're
know which
angry you're
country
here.
you are. Divorce becomes difficult when there's an abusive person in
Yes,
the
that's the
middle
only
of
time
the
it
divorce.
becomes really stretchy. It can take
Yeah.
you up to 2 years before it goes through.
There is nothing like you can't marriage. If you want to marry because of children, then maybe. But if you want to marry for companionship, there is no reason why, because you feel married and marry, make the children don't even come.
Exactly. But
Having kids
people
is
got
not, if,
married
as much
30
as
years,
it's your
no child.
decision, it's not totally within your power.
It's
Right?
not.
So there's nothing like you must be ready for children. See, I'm telling you, I tell people that if you want to marry, right? Okay, should I say this? Okay, no.
Oh my God. Anyways, let's round up. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Timmy. Thank you for. Thank you, Ola. We didn't plan to have you, but somehow the energy just drew you inside. You just decided to come and join us. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we will have a part two, and more like even a continuous part. There will always be more. The reason I have not even been consistent with my life is because of so many. I don't know. Don't mind me. I'm learning too much. I'm trying to, get more knowledge. I don't just want to be teaching
But
just
people
from
want to put
emotion.
me
I
in
also want
trouble.
to.
They are saying they want to put me in trouble. That tell me. If you want to hear, because I said this is TikTok. Anybody can be screen recording
Recording.
this live.
Yes.
If you want to hear my unfiltered parts, right, go and follow me on YouTube. I am unfiltered on YouTube, because even if
I followed you there. I think I did last 2 weeks. I wanted to try and follow you from TikTok, but for some reason I couldn't. So I had to be looking for your name. I couldn't find it actually. It took me till last week before I was able to get your handle.
okay.
It's been good hanging out with you ladies, and thank you to everyone who has watched. For those who have left and those who have just joining, sorry about to close. Sorry, we do need to go. Anyway, luckily I was able to start recording at some point on YouTube for those that may want to have an idea. So I think my YouTube is linked to my TikTok profile, so just go there. Not the whole discussion is there, it's just, yeah, but at least I think about over an hour is there. So go and watch it and catch up there for those just joining. And we would have a part two, possibly part three or more. But for now, we'll be looking forward to a part two. Thank you so much. And to all our gifters, the ones that gifted me, the ones that gifted Timmy, the ones that gifted Ola, thank you so much. We really appreciate that you also thought of rewarding our time. Thank you. And have a very beautiful evening from me to you, Chop Killsies. Thank you. Bye. All right, then. Till we come your way again, remember not to lose your autonomy. Always remember you have a voice. It's not for decoration. It's not only for when you want to beg somebody to give you access to what is actually your rights. You don't even need to be begging for what is normal. We have normalized so many things. We've normalized so many abnormalities that when we now see the normal thing, it begins to look abnormal. Hey, we'll be fine. It's a journey. We will get there. Thank you all. So this is where I end it and say see you again next time. Bye.